Hello, Tom Levecki here with the latest edition of the Armchair NBA. Gonna do a live unpacking from the John Alite reconciliation interview. So I just want to clarify a few things before we go deep and unpack. And have a special guest on tonight. Hey, Johnny. Ciao, Gianni. And I just want to give some context before we jump in and let some people get in the room and so forth. The first thing is my legacy show, New Theory Podcast, Jason Venturelli is now leading that up. I believe, hey, Marco, I believe in supplying a forum and a medium for anyone and everyone to share their story. If person A shares their story, person B, if they have a counterpoint, if it makes sense, and there's some credibility, then I also want to share that counterpoint as well. So, for example, in the past, I've interviewed Al Sharpton, but then I also had Richie Valdez, a good friend of mine. He's going to come on the show. He's a producer of Fox, and he's a constitutionalist. I like to give different points of view. With that being said, I've known Johnny Alite since 2015, and done multiple interviews with him, and the interviews did well over 600,000 streams. And you may say, well, that's not justification for platforming a bad guy. Well, the truth of the matter is I've interviewed many former guys in the life, and he's no exception. The Sugar Daddies incident when he jumped in the water, literally the day after I had Chris Casparozza on, who was a representative of the Gotti camp. This show, Armchair, is no different, right? So I interviewed him a few weeks back to give the setup, and I came at him very, very hard. I ask you to revisit that interview. Haven't done so. I highly recommend it. But I did come at him very hard. Now, what I find interesting is when I came at him very hard, I was celebrated in many circles. You came at him the hardest you could. Nobody ever did that to him. And, we weren't talking for a while. So I tasked myself. So I didn't want to, ABK, I didn't want to spread myself thin. I didn't want to go a rabbit hole. And I looked at 6 particular things that I wanted to look into. So at least those 6 particular things that were discussed that I could unpack, have them on the show. It took a little longer than I wanted to. The research took a little longer than I wanted to. The setup took a little different turn than I wanted to. I own a magazine. I was going to have an independent, Father Time. I was going to have an independent writer write it. I was going to put resources behind it. It's out of pocket money. I don't make any money on this. But due to editorial commitments, my editor basically shut it down. He goes, you know what? You're on your own on this one. Since I had the pleasure of getting married, my beautiful wife is pregnant, and have a lot of other stuff going on in my life. So it took a little longer for me to address. Okay. With that being said, let me get to it. Okay. So we're 6 points of contention, or 6 points the focus of the interview was. Number 1 was John capable when he was in the street. Oops, excuse me, should be in the street or on the street, either or, I think. I don't know, not a grammar police. Was John Alite a big earner when he was on the street? Did he rob Tommy Karate Stash House? Did he have knowledge of the Castellano hit? Did he break down Joey Gallo? And what happened with the Scarface type shooting on his property? So, I did my best to interview him the first time, which I put the full court press on it. What happened earlier to that is I looked at an old interview we did. I felt it didn't age well, and because it didn't age well, I was upset. I've always been fair with him. I had him on the show numerous times. As he got bigger in terms of media notoriety, he never said no to me. I never said no to him. Weren't best super friends, but we had a good working relationship, right? So with that being said I felt a little upset, very upset actually, that I looked at one of the old interviews that we did. You're welcome to check that out as well. And truth of the matter is I didn't like how it aged. So I confronted him very hard. It was on a live. It was as he was driving, and it was a little rough. And prior to that on the phone, we got into it. And I said, man, I'm not letting you off the hook. We got to go through this. Do you want to do it on the phone or you want to do it live? He goes, screw it, we'll do it live. It was off the cuff. It was audio on his side. It was a shit show. but nevertheless, we got it out there, right? So thank you. Hit the like button, and thank you, Father Time, and subscribe. I see a lot of new people here. I'm going to ask you to take a second, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, hit that like button. We're still doing the road to 10,000 subs. Fourth place would be 10 books. Third place is 10 Armchair NBA shirts, and then second and first prize are a total of 7 gift cards, as well as guest host on the show. We're about 1,300 away, and I say we because we're a community, and we are almost there, 13% away. Am I leaving the mob genre? Yeah, as I mentioned, I was going to handle legacy stuff. I am doing non-mob stuff. I did a great piece on R.J. Rogers' book on 36 Bosses, kind of mob business. And then I also did top 5 side hustles for going into 2022. Next, I'm working on a piece, top 5 passive income side hustles, or top 5 passive income mailbox money stuff for those that are interested. So you're going to see a lot more business topics, a lot more business interviews. So we had John back on. So had John on. I thought it was a good interview. I thought I was fair with him. Much calmer place. And then lo and behold, I believe I got a lot of criticism from multiple channels, other creators. I like to be very transparent about this. Whenever you do a hit piece or you're going to talk about a piece, it's typically customary to reach out to the subject matter and say, hey, I'm going to talk about you. Do you have a comment? Do you have a statement? Maybe even invite me on the show. The whole idea is to be able to have a dialogue on the subject matter, because you're going to find out it's subjective. It's not easy. It's a lot harder than it looks. People have agendas, and rightfully so, right? They might have something that goes along with their moral compass. They may say, you know what, Tom? You are platforming somebody who was a rat, right? And they're welcome to say that, and that's okay feedback. But the truth of the matter is, I'm a podcaster. I'm not a street guy. I'm pro-law enforcement. The informant program is a big part of their program. It's a tactic that's used for terrorists. So it's like, well, we could use the informant program for terrorists. That's okay. But we can't use it in Cosa Nostra, right? However, there are some progressive people when we push back are saying, listen, if you want to get somebody the right way. And if they're an informant, not that it's okay, but don't lie, right? Which brings us to why I did the John Alite interview, why I did the second interview with the 6 points, and why we are unpacking today. I did not hear from Angel Gotti. I heard she was somewhat critical of me. I believe in free speech. She's always welcome to be critical of me. I don't think she likes me much, but nevertheless, she reaches out to me when she has something to say. I respect that about her, and she does not hold punches, again, which I respect that. And then, gentleman named Common Sense is his screen name, who also was critical of me. So I sent him a link. He is going to schedule to be on shortly. Hopefully he'll be on. If not, then I'll expand to some other stuff that I'm working on. But I'm just waiting for him to come on. Let me just see. Your mom interview. Screw the haters. This isn't the street. This is internet. Alite always tell the truth, even when he lies. I had a handful of other creators, but I don't feel the same way about whoever they like at the time. I liked you, Tom, from the beginning. I'm still tuned. Thank you very much, Gianni. Grazie. And sorry again for your loss. I heard you had a loss in your family, so my apologies. You said the street boss to boost his own ego. I emailed you Common Sense. Okay, I'll drop it below. Okay, very, very important. I want to give, hey, Damien, I want to give some context. So Common Sense and I were in touch. He was on the show before. Basically, he gave me some facts. He was giving me some information. I was actually going to run some of the stuff by him. Thank you, Damien. I was going to run some of the stuff by him. For personal reasons, I did not. We talked earlier today. I let him know that I was thinking of doing an unpacking show. So he is hopefully going to be on in a minute. The purpose of today's show is, again, and last night I lost my stack. If you saw on the other show, I already apologized to Lee. It wasn't very professional of me. It is what it is. And the truth of the matter is, I can debate or have an active agreement or disagreement without it getting contentious. The other part is I may disagree with what you're saying, but I'll agree with your right to say it. So without any further ado, Mr. Common Sense, how are you, buddy?
What's going on, Tom?
Not much. Thanks for coming on the show tonight.
No problem. I
Okay.
know. I
Okay.
went on Angel's show last night. And I had some choice words for you that I had an opinion on. What happened yesterday, and I talked to you earlier, and I think we're on the same page right now. Decided to come on and talk about
Agreed.
it.
Agreed. And I want to make things very clear that Common Sense and I will have a discussion. There may be parts that are debated. It's okay for us to have an active disagreement without drama, but we will walk away respecting each other's opinion. We may agree on some things, we may not agree on others, but that's what being a grand adult is. So, what I want to do, Common Sense, the way I'd like to do this is I want to give each point, we'll go one by one. I want to give kind of what I found and my research, and then I'll give you 3 to 4 minutes for rebuttal or any agreement or disagreement. Does that work for you?
Sounds good.
Okay, and then if you out of the six, you're welcome to expand on stuff. I just am not prepared for that. Meaning I don't have like proof. And I'm also here. I'm also not the advocate either, right? The truth is the truth. If you say hey X, Y, and Z, and I can't prove it otherwise, I'll have to take your opinion. If I have something to agree with it, I absolutely would agree. If I disagree, it'll all be the same. So okay. So the first is was Johnny Alite capable in the streets, right? So obviously for this one, I'm just giving you what I had in terms of some of the research that I've done and the people that I spoke to. So whether it be Grosso or Stratton, and there were some conspiracies with DeBono and Bacciano. I think they called him Frankie Geeky. That he was involved either directly or indirectly on a few murders. And I'm taking this from a civilian standpoint, common sense. To me, one murder is enough to make him capable. I also spoke with former street guys, people that I knew or knew in the past, and for the most part, he was a fairly capable guy and was used for at least for a while as kind of a heavy for some people in the Gambino family. I don't think this is super debatable, this particular one, but you're welcome to weigh in. Common sense has agreed.
I don't have too much contention with anything that you said regarding that. The only part that I would contend is the number of murders, but we can talk
Yeah.
about that later.
Yeah, and again, you could expand upon that on again the discussion. I think there was an easy one. You can push and pull, but in terms of capable, I don't think anybody disagree with that. The second one was he a true earner, and checked out the Zilla of the old house. Obviously, spoke with some colleagues of his, if you call them colleagues. And the truth of the matter is, I think he was more involved with drugs than I initially thought. Not condoning or not saying it's right or wrong, but nevertheless, um, he was deep into drugs, hence pretty high earning capability or earning capacity at the time. I don't think that was super debatable either, but you're welcome to weigh in that as well.
No debate on that one.
Okay, so that was 2 of 6. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road. So his contention is that he robbed a cash house, a stash house of Tommy Karate. This gets tricky. If you're the mob, you weren't supposed to deal drugs. I didn't believe that there would be a stash house in Howard Beach. I think it was a very hot area. I don't think, um, this is, something that was to be done. So I just kind of came up with what I found, and then we can discuss it. So the first, I did confirm the robbery with one party. I couldn't do with law enforcement. Another person I couldn't get in touch with. They believed it to be his stash house, Tommy Karate's. That was the belief of the person I spoke to. But then conversely, a letter surfaced from another podcaster, and then that podcaster was again, we have no reason to disbelieve that was from Tommy Karate, and he stated he had no knowledge of John Alite, and actually asked somebody
Uh,
about him, and he didn't speak about him too politely. And then just conversely, I just wanted to check with a defense attorney that I knew, pretty high profile person, and he said typically, if somebody's in prison, they're able to, I believe, as I understand, look at your stuff going out and stuff going in. So generally, you're not going to claim to know somebody. And again, this is where you come in common sense, is if he has an appeal or maybe compassionate release or something. So to mitigate that, they may downplay knowing certain people. That's what I came up with. Obviously, he um, kept on that point, but that's kind of where I landed. Common sense, take it away.
Well, I have a problem with everything that he claims about Tommy Karate Patera. I have a problem
Okay.
with the shootout that he claims happened, and I have a problem with all
Well,
the
the
subsequent sit
the
downs.
shootout's number 6. So we'll get to that. But can we focus on robbing of the stash house and feel free to give me where you land?
Well, the only person that really alleges that, and there's anything to fall back on, is the words of John Alite and somebody that you claim off the record that you spoke to that said that they were involved in robbing it. Now, the reason that I bring up the shootout is because in John Alite's book and in John Alite's 302s, he claimed that the reason for the shootout was due to this alleged drug robbery of Tommy Patera.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So I
My
guess. Go ahead. Sorry.
my issue with this is that John Alite in his FBI 302s, which you can get online,
Yeah.
they were done by his handler at the time, which was Ted Otto. And in those FBI 302s, he claimed that this shootout occurred in 1991 or 1992, that it was sent for by Tommy Karate Patera in response to a drug robbery that they committed. And then subsequently, post that, he qualifies it by saying, and then there was sit downs that happened after the fact. The problem for John Alite is that Tommy Karate Patera was in prison since June of 1990 and has been doing a life sentence ever since. So when John Alite wrote his book Gotti's Rules, he changed the information from that FBI 302, which said 1991, 1992, and then postmarked it and put it back into 1990, which still didn't help him out anymore because once again, Tommy Patera was in prison in 1990, and how can you have a sit down after that fact when you qualified it when the guy was still in prison? Not
Well.
only that, but
Yeah.
Tommy Karate Patera's captain at the time was Eddie Curly Lino. Eddie Curly Lino was the Bonanno captain who also later, if people don't know, when Joe Messino and Sal Vitale and all those guys got indicted, he was
Yes.
also one of the guys that got indicted and he cooperated in those cases. Eddie Lino's brothers were both captains in the Gambino family. I'm sorry, Frank Lino, not Eddie Lino. His brother was Eddie
Yeah.
Lino,
Frank
Frank
Lino
Curly
was with the
Lino.
Bananas. Eddie Lino was with
Yes, my apologies.
I
Frank
didn't know
Curly
this.
Lino. His brother
Yeah.
Eddie and his other brother were both captains in the Gambino family.
Yeah.
Now, when Frank Lino, who wound up cooperating later with Messino and Sal Vitale and those guys, nobody has ever talked about a beef between Patera and anybody in the Gambino family. There was never any sit downs. Nobody's ever testified to it. The only person that has ever said anything of the sort was John Alite.
Okay. All right. So this particular one, you obviously categorically disagree. You're giving some dates. I asked when this was done. I'm just telling you what I was told. They said senior was still on the street. But again, you're giving some counter information. You're giving some dates, and you can mark this one if you kind of where it lands. Could go in the inconclusive category to say the least. Okay. The next one. This was an easy one. Did A Light
I
have any
got I
form?
got really low sound feedback for some reason on this.
Am I everybody? Am I low? If you can hear me, am I low?
I can
Somebody
barely
just
hear you.
hold on. Let me just see. If anybody could just comment quickly, just you hear me okay? Not hear me okay? This is always crazy about these lives. I'll try to. They said they can hear me okay. Common sense. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's just really low in my headset.
Do
Usually
you
it's
want
not
to
like
maybe?
this.
Do you want to maybe jump out, jump back in real quick?
Yeah, let me try that.
Okay, cool. I'll be here.
Sorry about that. Let me try that.
No worries. Some people have me a bit low. Hold on. Let me just check on my side. Yeah. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. That should help. Do I sound better? The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. I hopefully see if Ramondi says it, I got to be good. All right. The next one, common sense is back. Can you hear me better, kind sir?
Yes, I can hear you a lot better now.
Okay,
That's
perfect.
weird.
Okay. So the next one, this was a pretty easy one, and this immediately fell to non-conclusive. Was did he have foreknowledge of the Castellano hit? He did acquiesce and say, "Hey, I heard something was big. I didn't know what it was. I don't know what dates. I don't know what times." but they're how do I say this? At best, and this is being fair, at best, Junior was not made at the time, as we know, and I heard from multiple people that Senior was a very stand on ceremony type person. So it's even not even plausible that even Junior knew anything about it, and if so, wouldn't tell him. So I think that was a pretty conclusive one towards the inclusive or not true. He kind of acquiesced to that in terms of agreeing. But I think that should be a layup as well. Correct?
It's a layup saying what now?
A layup saying it was untrue.
Yeah, I don't believe that that's true at all.
Yeah, and again, he did pivot somewhat and say, "I knew something big was going on," and he gave his kind of story. That's why you do these things. But that was one there. Okay, Joey Gallo as well. Pretty straightforward. It's conceivable that an associate could work as a messenger guy, a messenger boy. That's conceivable. But in terms of him calling him and breaking it down, that is obviously at bare minimum a gross exaggeration, but is also inconclusive as well. I think we could agree on that one. That one's pretty much a layup.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty ridiculous to even think that he would be used to do such a thing.
Just like I said, I confined to 6 things because, as you know, common sense, when you do these things, you could easily go into a rabbit hole. Okay. Last one, the Scarface type hit that allegedly happened. So, again, I'll give you where I land, and we're welcome to unpack. That's why we're here. 178 people, good numbers. Thank you for checking us out. For those that are jumping in, Common Sense is a viewer of the show, was critical of the second Alite interview. So he just wanted to jump on and kind of give some thoughts and his opinion on the subject. And going through 6 items, we're on the 6th now, and then going to give him a minute or two on other subjects that he's welcome to talk about. Again, the whole idea is to have an open forum and open engagement on both sides. And then you as a viewer, you're welcome to make up your opinion. The question is, who did Bobby Lupo? I am not sure. I don't think we will ever know. All right. So, last one, the Scarface style hit that was alleged on his property. So I'll give you what came up. I spoke with somebody who allegedly discarded of the weapons. Were multiple weapons, I think 3 in total. And then secondly, also researched the area hospitals. He did know the area hospitals, so it wasn't like he was like, I checked the hospitals out. I kind of know the area, and said research areas hospitals, looking for people, did not find it. And then also there was, as I understand, blood on the ground. And then was able to talk to somebody that Route 73 is a major thoroughfare from where his annex was, or his compound was, and it was roped off as a crime scene. To give common sense, what he's going to probably say, I wasn't able to find police reports, and I couldn't find anything online. But I did find that the person did discard some weapons, and that there was some police activity on his property, tangentially related to that. Common sense, take it away.
I don't understand who said that, because that's all new. Because when he first started telling all these stories, none of that information existed. The only time.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I spoke with, again, what's tricky about these things is very hard to do. You have to, vet as best as you could, ask questions, try to unpack it, and really try to get things going in terms of interviewing, ask him some questions and so forth. And this particular gentleman that I did speak to said he was involved with discarding of the guns. I asked some deeper questions and deeper probes. I believe it was three weapons. And then I also spoke to somebody else who said when it happened, there was police activity. It was roped off all the way from the street all the way to the house. And that's as far as I can get. But again, you're welcome to. And there was one other witness that was also allegedly there. I wasn't able to talk to that person, but I got the those 2 items. Again, common sense. You're welcome to share your thoughts.
I don't know. There's somebody in the chat saying that. Why do I sound nervous or something? I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody's nervous here, buddy. But anyway,
I'm not looking at the comments like I normally do because I want to give you my undivided. So you're welcome to.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah,
I was just
yeah,
answering that because people
yeah.
on here like to post stupid stuff. But yeah, in regards to this entire shootout, I I don't understand. When he did interviews and the documentaries on, did you watch the one with Sir Trevor McDonald, the Mafia, Part One and Part Two?
I did. I did.
Right. Okay. Did you see the part where he says that he walks up to a guy and he finished him off in the middle of the road?
I believe I recall that.
Right. So what happened to these three bodies that this guy killed? What happened to the car that these guys showed up in?
Yeah.
Where's the missing persons report? Where's the police report? You killed three people on your property outside, and nobody's seen anything. Not a single car drove by. You got rid of three bodies.
No,
How
no,
come he never talks about?
He's not. Go ahead, common sense. I'm sorry.
How come he never talks about where the bodies went? How come he never talks about where the car went? He killed everybody that came there in the car that day.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Hold on,
yeah.
hold on. Then when he just did for all the people, I don't know if you've seen it or you didn't see it, but when you go back and you look at this National Geographic episode that the guy just did, he goes out on National Geographic and he tells a completely different story where he talks about the shooting on his property and he says that he has his wife in there with his two kids. First of all, he says the wrong wife and the wrong kids. His two sons were from his second marriage. His first kids were a son and a daughter from a different woman altogether. He says that when the people came to the house, all the guns jammed and he scared them away. And he talks about that. I mean, every time this guy tells a story, he changes it on the next show that he does because he can't remember all the lies that the guy tells.
Okay. Well, like I said,
and just to talk about this, I actually went through because I spoke about this last night on Angel's show.
Yeah.
I told you about this before. And I have notebooks, I got interviews, and I got timestamps, and I'll point out a couple little examples of the lies that this guy tells. So if anybody thinks that this guy's credible, they can go and look at these timestamps and look at for themselves and tell me that this guy isn't a pathological and compulsive liar. Period.
Okay. I mean, listen, you also, if you have any supporting documentation, obviously you don't have to show it here. I have a community. You're always welcome to send it over. You have my bless you. You always have my email, and then if it makes sense to prove something, more than likely I can post on the community. So,
all right, let's break down something. Do you remember in the interview you did with Alite yesterday that you asked him about the shooting of Paul G that he did outside of Gotti Senior's house?
Yeah, and then he said it was in front of the
Fanny, the grandmother, now all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
Right. So for everybody that wants, you can go to Vlad TV to John Alite's interview, and you can go to 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 50 seconds, and Vlad is talking about crimes that John Alite has committed. And Vlad asked John Alite, "Can you tell me about the Paul G shooting?" And Alite responds by saying, "Yeah, Paul G, I shot him outside of Gotti Senior's house." And Vlad says, "You shot him outside of Gotti Senior's house?" And he says, "Yes." And he talks about how the sanitation worker across the street came out after the shooting, and the guy hid in a snowbank, and John Alite had a knife on him, and he was going to walk up to the guy, and he was going to slit the guy's throat, and the sanitation worker saw it, and Alite pointed an empty gun at him, and he scared the guy off, and then they left and they fled the scene. How come you didn't talk about any of that?
Well, what I know is when I on the second interview, because Angel emailed me, and again, you have to weigh everything and put everything together. She lived at the house. I have no reason to believe she would lie. She said he did not shoot or kill anybody in front of my father's house, right? So when I brought it up to him, he amended it to the grandmother's house. And I don't want to give the backstory, but there was a backstory behind why it happened. And he said the grandparents' house versus the father's house.
Right, and then I just gave you an interview where John Alite doubled down and said that it was outside of Gotti Senior's house, and that's not the only interview that he's done this in. He's done it in 5 or 10 other ones. And now, yesterday with you, he's got a new version of the event.
And you cite that in the Vlad interview, correct?
1 hour, 5 minutes, and 50 seconds. You can start the tape.
1 hour.
And then we'll talk about another incident directly after.
Hold on. Common sense. 1 second, because I want to be vigilant.
All right.
Do you know which interview? He did a few of them with him. Do you know which one? Or you want to say?
It was I believe it was the one that Gene Borello came on later.
With Gene. Okay, I'll check it out. Absolutely. Okay, next.
Yep. And right after that one, he talks about Johnny Gebert. And Vlad asked him about the Johnny Gebert murder. And Alite says, yes, Johnny Gebert. I ordered him dead from prison. I asked my guys if they could do me a Christmas gift for me while I was in prison, if they could kill the guy. Right? He ordered the hit. He said he was in prison, and he asked his guys to kill Johnny Gebert as a Christmas gift for him. It would be a nice present, he says. So then let's go to the Lee Cole interview where John and Jimmy Alite are on the Lee Cole show. And you can go to 22 minutes in, and Lee Cole is taking questions from the chat room, sometimes like everybody does, and he asked Alite who ordered or killed Johnny Gebert. And at that time, John Alite's phone disconnects for a second, and his brother Jimmy says, my brother John ordered that murder. That was John's order, and he had Johnny Gebert killed. John Alite's phone comes back on, and he says, sorry, my phone cut out. What were you asking? And Lee says, I want to know who ordered the Johnny Gebert murder. And he says, oh, John Gotti Sr. ordered that murder.
Well, okay, so I believe, and you stop me if I'm wrong, and I did have a good source behind that one as well. I didn't want to go as much into the weeds of the individual ones, but that particular one, obviously, he did not partake firsthand in it. It was ordered, and so we agree on that. The question is, who ordered it, and that part is still unclear.
Well, let me ask, but Tom, let me ask you a question. Yeah. If you did something and you put out an order to kill somebody, or somebody told you to do it, would you have 10 different versions of that story every time I asked you?
No, not normally. No.
Right. Exactly. There you go.
All right.
So another interesting thing you asked him yesterday in the interview is, you remember where you brought up asking him the claim about he was an informant since the early 1990s?
Yeah. Can I touch on that at a minute? Or why don't you go, and then I want to expand on that a little bit too.
Go ahead. You can go.
All right. So, as part of my research, and listen, that's part of the game, right? 300 people. Thank you. Actually, we were at 301. I was going to say if we were at 302, that'd be funny. So part of the research, I did look at, revisit. I had a shout out my father, try to dig through that, Gotti's rules. But the main thing is that I looked at was the Forbes interview with Richard Behar. Now, again, I don't always look at the outlets. I also look at the writers. He's a contributing editor for Forbes, BBC, CNN, Fox, Fast Company. So Richard Behar is a reputable resource. And then I don't know where you land on this. I'd love to hear your opinion, but I also couldn't find anything on David Gentile in terms of any red flags. Now, I've heard some stories on both sides. I heard he knew David Gentile as the early 90s, but then I also heard that he knew David Gentile in 99, and he met him at his son's hockey game. And remember, Alite was in jail for a part of the 90s. So yes. I do believe, in my opinion, based off what I've heard and read, is that he met him in the late 90s. But obviously, you're always welcome to have your opinion.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. His part of informing has nothing to do with David Gentile. That's where you're mistaken.
Well, no, some people believe that he knew David Gentile earlier, and that he was his handler.
No, he had another handler, and I'll tell you why. And anybody can go and look this up.
Okay.
So, in the early 1990s, and John Alite testified to this during the Gotti trial. He admitted this on the stand, and so did the prosecution, that he was a government informant since the early 90s. Charlie Carnesi had brought up the fact that Alite was an informant since the early 90s, and the prosecution put in an objection. The judge then stopped and asked them what grounds it was on. And Carnesi followed up by saying through their discovery, they got information that they want to bring to light during testimony, where the prosecution went in turn and said, okay, yes, he was, and they went on to explain. Now, what happened is, John Alite was called in. He was actually summoned to do a grand jury hearing. You know about that?
That I don't know about. Go ahead. Proceed.
Okay, so in the early 1990s, federal agents went to John Alite and served him with a subpoena to testify at a grand jury. John Alite told the agents that he was not going to go there, basically, and tell the truth, but he would give them information off the record, not on paper, not as a cooperator, off the record of anything they wanted to know. And during that grand jury hearing, he brought an individual named Mikey Malone, who was a heroin addict, who John Alite brought with him to that grand jury uh, hearing. Now, after that grand jury hearing is when John Alite started providing information about individuals such as Vito Guzzo, John Gotti Jr., and another individual named Joe O'Kane. You know who Joe O'Kane is?
Yes, I do.
Right. Shortly after that grand jury hearing, Joe O'Kane was indicted and arrested and got a subsequent life sentence. And during Joe O'Kane's discovery, he found out what the information was that led to his indictment, and that's when they figured out that it was from John Alite. Now, you posed this question to John Alite yesterday and asked him, what is your response to people saying that you were an informant since the early 1990s? And he laughs and he says, oh, that's ridiculous. I used Richie Raybach, Gotti's attorney, all the way up and through I believe he said 99 when he got out of prison, right?
Yeah, correct. So really quick, and I just want to do my best to address what you're saying. The first is in terms of him cooperating. Obviously, I couldn't find anything through Freedom of Information. I couldn't find anything public. If you're saying he had a different handler, obviously, you probably have some record of that. But also,
I believe the information is also on JohnALiteFacts.com. You can find it.
Got it. With that said, though, is I couldn't find anything conclusively for 91. And then also, one of the stories that I talked about, real quick.
Well, there wasn't anything written down. He was doing it off the record. So what I was trying to get at is this. His explanation is that his proof that he wasn't a cooperator or an informant is because he was using an attorney by John Gotti Sr., Richie Raybach, so that if he was an informant, his attorney would know. That's his theory, correct?
Until 98, and what I did not call Mr. Raybach's office for a contribution or a comment, so I can't conclusively say, hey, yeah, he was or wasn't. But that was a claim.
So I'm gonna give you some food for thought here, right?
Okay.
Willie Boy Johnson, familiar with him?
Yes.
Willie Boy Johnson was going in and giving information for about 20 years to the government on the sneak.
Correct.
He, along with John Gotti Sr., Anil Delacroce, and Tony Lee Guerrieri, were indicted on a RICO case and gambling charge in 1985. Willie Boy Johnson had the same attorneys as Gotti Sr., Delacroce, and Tony Lee. None of them were going to know that he was an informant until what happened. Until during a court hearing, Diane Giacalone went out and exposed him as a government informant,
as a CIA,
which Willie Boy Johnson refused to continue cooperating and went through with that trial, and they were found not guilty on. Now, they all had the same attorneys. He wasn't going to go in there. They were never going to find out he was an informant.
Yeah, but typically, you could push back a little bit on that, and you could kind of say if you were to cooperate. Now, again, when you do cooperate, it triggers a cooperation agreement, and no matter how
but not if you're doing it on the sneak.
The only thing is however, you would be, and we went through this whole thing with Persico, you would be assigned a CI number. Again,
not all the time. That's not true.
Well, here's the deal. I'm not disagreeing with you. But also, there's no proof either. So, I'm with you. I'm actually, what your sense makes sense when you connect the dots, but not all those dots have full proof. And listen, just so you know, you are welcome to email me and send me anything backing these up. You could say, hey, A, B, and C. I'd be happy to show in the community. I wouldn't expect you to show me now. On that particular one, I think there's debate as to when he became a cooperator. Would he have went to jail in the 90s if he was a cooperator?
Tom, he admitted it on the stand, and so did the prosecution during the trial. It's in the transcripts. You can read it.
Okay. Those 302s are long. If you were able to,
it's not a 302. It's a trial testimony transcript of him on the witness stand.
Okay,
the prosecution.
I have not read it. That's why I'm going to own that. But again, that did not fall within one of the 6 things that I researched. If it was, I would work to go deep dive on that. I haven't. You're welcome to send me a copy of those.
Well, I'm talking about stuff after the fact with you that you brought up during the interview that I'm giving you the
that's the other part too. Let me ask you a direct question. And this is your
All right.
opinion.
Can I say one thing, Tom?
Please.
There's an individual in the comments named Carmine S saying that yes, you are assigned a CI number. The FBI documents everything. That is not true. 100% is not true. And I challenge anybody to tell me to come on here that there aren't informants that aren't assigned CI numbers, that aren't on record, that don't sign 302s or 5K1 letters, that are never even charged or convicted, that go on and cooperate and give information on the sneak. That is not true. I'm sorry, it's not. It's flat out wrong.
Well,
And I challenge anybody to show me otherwise.
Well, what we could do, and it can't be done now, is I can look to find. I don't think we get a current FBI member, but maybe somebody does consulting who worked for the FBI, who worked in OC. I'm big on getting subject matter experts, so that's something that we can table. But again, remember this cuts both ways. On the Persico front, because there wasn't a CI number that was attached, it was like, well, if there's no paperwork, there's no proof. And what you're saying is, well, there's no paperwork, but there's got to be some proof. So I have no challenge getting a former FBI official on, and then saying, you know what, it's done. If we get a former reputable FBI agent on, I would be with you. Now, obviously, if not, again, then we could maybe agree to disagree on that one. But I'm definitely definitely would want to research that further. I have somebody just messaged me during the show. I'm not being rude. All CIs are assigned a number, whether their name becomes public or not. How else do they give information for FBI reports? Will an agent know who they're talking about in order to write a report? So common sense.
That's not true. That's not true.
Well, that's just somebody's opinion who is
they have hotline numbers where you can call and report any information you want. They could write a letter on it and not write a name on there. They don't know who it is.
But I'm with you on that. But then how would, for example, if you were to write a report, because you do have to document if you're going to use information, how would you cite that back to that particular
if you're going to use the information and you don't have any other cooperators or people that you arrest post-fact that you use? Like I said, Willie Boy Johnson was informing for 20 years. He wasn't sitting there. They weren't having FBI 302s and memorized paperwork on everything that he was giving those guys. He was doing it on the sneak. Those agents do that. You can't sit here and tell me that every agent is above board. It's a lie.
Here's where I have a hard time processing that. He would give 20 years of information and them not write down any of it.
No, I'm not saying that they're not going to write down the information, but they're not going to assign that to an individual. They don't always do that.
Then
especially if the guy's not willing to take. If a guy is not,
how do they reference
Tom, if a guy isn't willing to take the stand and cooperate and go forward, then you can't even use the guy. So all they have is information. So you could supply guys with information for petty crimes all you want.
I'm agreeing with you. And that information, as far as I know, could be used as material to a case. And in their internal documentation, which sometimes gets redacted if the judge allows it. And again, I'm not an attorney, but my understanding, they would have to cite that source. Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not agreeing with you. We'll work to get maybe an ex-FBI agent's opinion. Are there historically bad agents? It could happen. But
of course there are.
I think we could graduate on that. What else you got, buddy?
I have a ton of stuff. It just depends on what you want to get into. My whole problem with the show last night, as I told you earlier in our conversation, was based on what we discussed. And then not hearing from you or following up on any of the information I gave you during that show, it seemed to me that you pretty much just threw in the towel and were willing to just, as you named the show, the reconciliation, that you were basically saying, okay, I'm sorry that I called you out. I'll agree with you on these things, but you never did any of the other research like the stuff I'm giving you now that we spoke about, to put him and say, hey, you've told so many lies and so many contradictory statements. And then when he chimes in there and says, oh, I'm going to cut you off, I'm going to tell you this now. You never said, no, I'm going to cut you off. You said X, Y, and Z. Now you're saying A, B, and C. And you have a persistent habit of this and not telling the truth. He doesn't tell the truth about
so just
the
like
trials he testified in. He doesn't tell the truth about stuff that he says during his shows. He tells different stories in his books, in his different interviews from 2015 and 16 to 2019 and 20. And he even told you new lies yesterday during your show that he's never told before. I just don't know how anybody could platform this guy and take him seriously with all the easily to disproven lies that this guy has told.
Well, let's that's why we're here to unpack. Number one is as we discussed prior and even now that there were six particular points that I wanted to address, right? And in my research, which I've given, I've provided information. I spent a lot of time on this, and within the context of the six items, I felt I did the best job I could with the resources I had. I pressed them on those items. You may not feel I did it hard enough. Some people thought I was too hard. That's a matter, of opinion. Now you're bringing other items up, right, in different contexts that we talked about, but was not under those six items. I wasn't prepared to have, a conversation or the like. So you're welcome to give your opinion, but you say, well, why would you platform something like that? With all due respect, when I had him on the first time and I kind of eviscerated him, I got the attaboy. That wasn't platforming, but then now I had something that might have been perceived as favorable. That's platforming. And number two is, am I platforming you right now? No, we're having a conversation as a possible counterpoint to a previous guest, and we're having, I believe, a respectful discussion. So, so the other stuff that you brought up today, I'm going to look into the Edilino thing. I'm going to look into the Vlad interview, and I'm also going to look into possible an FBI expert who can speak to whether or not CIs in organized crime are possibly assigned numbers or not. So, just like you, I like to do my research if I could speak on somebody intelligibly. But I respect your opinion on these subjects, and I'll be happy to deeper dive on those 3 points.
Well, no, because here's an example of how somebody doesn't need to get assigned a CI number that could just have spoken to an agent or said something to an agent, and all they did was memorialize it in an FBI 302 or just in a note. When Bruno got hit in Springfield, he allegedly was hit because he had allocated that another member was a made member of organized crime in Springfield, which got him more time during his sentencing. And that was used by Artie Nero as a catalyst to take out Adolfo Bruno. He wasn't a CI on paper. The FBI agent claimed that they spoke and he memorialized it in a 302, and that's what they used to take the guy out.
That's correct.
He's not a confidential informant. He's not a CI number, but they had a conversation. They wrote it down in a note, but they don't always have to go down and make an FBI 302 or memorialize it. A guy could be in there that got picked up on a petty, theft or a bookmaking charge or whatever, and the guy says, listen, I'll give you guys information. Don't prosecute me. They don't have to go out and give this guy a CI number or anything like that unless they're going to use this guy in court to prosecute somebody else as the source of the information.
Well, listen,
that's the part that people don't understand.
No, listen, you appear to speak intelligently on the subject. You're very well read on it. That's why I spoke to you prior. That's why you're on the show. I would not have you here if I didn't believe what you're offering is valuable. And that's why, just like with him, I'm going to take some notes. You're welcome to give some additional information. And I do want to check that. That's just respectfully, just like I had to check him on some stuff. I do want to check on the CI thing with former FBI. I do know some current FBI. I've never done anything wrong. They just happen to be in my network. So maybe I can get an off-the-record response there. I don't know if they'll give me an off-the-record response, but I'm happy to check it out because I do think that is an important point.
You'd be better off asking an attorney than an active FBI agent if they do stuff off the record. Come on, give me a break here.
Well, I'll ask both. I mean, again, listen, right. One thing is you're welcome to criticize my research and my findings.
No, I'm not criticizing that. I'm just saying if you're going to ask the FBI agent if they lie,
but I just ask you respectfully. I just ask you to not criticize how I do it because that's my prerogative. Just like
no, Tom, I'm not criticizing how you do it. I'm saying if you're going to hang your hat on the word of an active FBI agent, if they do stuff that's not under protocol or on the record, that's not a credible source of my opinion.
If you notice, my lead-in is going to be X, who have a little less skin in the game. But you're right. I could ask the defense. I'd be happy to ask the defense attorney, and that's actually a very good point. Let me just
Yes.
see. Okay. This person doesn't necessarily agree with you. I'll leave it. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
All
What did
right.
they say? What did they say?
No, I mean, I'd be happy to read it. Give me a second. I just gotta.
I don't care. I'll take criticism. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, and this is remember. So doing what I'm doing. Some people choose to remain anonymous. I have to respect them for that. If I disclose, my sources, I will. If you don't think I have any credibility now, the little credibility I have will be gone. Hold on. It's actually from Instagram. Hold on. Just give me a second. Um, Not all CIs show up in court. Do you know how many CIs there are who never testified and who got outed years later or not outed at all ever? But there has to be a way to know who they're talking about in case they need to follow up on information. Not so complimentary, and then they actually write it's common sense. I guess they're being rhetorical, but that's what he shared. This particular person,
Yeah,
So
sure. Well, I'll just let people know that down here I have a degree in criminal justice, and I have a legal degree and a bachelor's degree in paralegal studies, and my undergrad in legal studies. So, you know, I'm not going to come on here and say who I am, but I'm just telling you right now that if I'm giving you information, I'm telling you something, I hang my hat on it, and I'm telling you as 100% for a fact. I
well,
wouldn't say it if I wasn't
well
I
that's
wasn't
why
sure about it.
that's why I have you here. I know you well enough. We're not like friends per se, but I know you well enough where I respect your opinion. You typically do your best to back up with the research. Just by having you, 470. Let's get to 500. Share with some people. Let's get to 500. Um, um, that's why you're here. So no need to credential. I trust you on that sense. I may disagree with some points. I may agree with some points. That's what makes this interesting. I got accused of platforming X, Y, and Z. Well, I want to give you the equal amount of opportunity and time, especially if you give reputable points, and that's why I had you on. Now, and in my comment earlier, I was tough on him on the first interview. That I think we could all agree that was pretty rough. And then the second part is the second one, people felt I wasn't rough enough. You can't win. Let me pose this question to you. Then why would he go on the run if he was ingratiated with the FBI at that point? Common sense.
Back in 2003 when he went on the run.
Yeah. So why? I'm just trying to apply the same logic. If he was in the auspice of the FBI, he can kind
I
of go
don't
to his
think he
head.
was in the office of the FBI. Like I said, he was given information on the sneak. He wasn't a cooperating witness or an informant at that time.
But he
So when
would
he
be
went on
given.
the run, when he
But
got an indictment and he was facing possible murder charges, the guy went on the run before he worked out a deal.
well, let me ask you this then, and this is important. Do you know or believe to know who his handler was in the 90s? Now, remember, he's
No,
giving
I
information on the sneak. We don't know who that is if that's alleged, correct?
no, I have no idea. I don't
Okay.
know.
So, but you get what I'm saying? So I'm just following the fact pattern because you want to get facts. I'm following the fact pattern and saying, you know what? If I'm making this up, if you were, if I was giving information to you and you were an FBI agent, I was giving you on the sneak, we have some type of relationship, right?
Hmm.
Versus go to Brazil and 20 countries or whatever that is, which I believe he did because they found him in Brazil. For me, it'd be easier to raise my hand and say, "Hey, Mr. FBI guy or gal, I want to talk to you. My lawyer's going to call you. I'm still going on the run, but we have a relationship. I got this great information for you. Let's work something out." And I think we'd be less incentivized to go on the run if he was indeed of the auspice of the FBI. That's my humble opinion. You're welcome to
Okay.
agree. You're welcome to disagree.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. When Alite originally got picked up in Brazil, he had hired an attorney out of Tampa.
That's
According to
correct.
information that I've come across, Alite was trying to cooperate immediately through the attorney in Tampa, and the attorney in Tampa had told Alite that the FBI wasn't interested in any of the information he had. Now that's when Alite started to continue to get
But
the
hold
money
on, but
transactions.
and hold on, common sense. In all fairness, as I
Uh,
understand, that attorney turned out to be unscrupulous to the point that John A. like disbanded him and actually had to get a new attorney. Hopefully, you
yeah, he
found that.
disbanded him for ineffective counsel.
Well, same difference, correct?
Yeah, because he sued him after he got a new attorney and found out that when that attorney got him in touch with the FBI to do a cooperation agreement, he found out the original attorney in Tampa had never reached out to the FBI to talk to him on his behalf. So then he sued him for ineffective counsel for spending another year and a half in a Brazilian prison before he got extradited back to the United States. And he sued that attorney in court and won a lawsuit against him.
That is correct. But my understanding, if you could supply documentation in black and white, I'd be 482. Let's get to 500, everybody. I'm not disagreeing with you, but the nature of the lawsuit for, I guess, poor representation or whatever it's called, is
ineffective counsel.
Ineffective counsel. Forgive me. Okay, but my understanding was it was not related to an FBI agreement. If you have something in black and white, I would be happy to digest that, but that I haven't seen.
What was it related to, and what you heard?
I don't know. That's why. But I would think that would be material to the case if it had to do with the federal government, and would also probably be of media interest as well.
Yeah. Well, another thing that he says is that, he was facing life in prison when he cooperated, but a lot of stuff that people don't know is the United States and Brazil's extradition policy is that in Brazil, the maximum amount of time anybody can get, which is a life sentence, is 20 years. So once you get extradited and you come back to the United States, with their extradition agreement, you cannot get any more than 20 years time. So he was never facing a life sentence once he got extradited back from Brazil. The maximum time he could have got was 20 or 25 years max.
Correct, because it goes by the country you're extradited from.
Right. So he lies about, he says, oh, I was facing life. I was facing the death penalty. I was going to spend the rest of my life in jail. No, he wasn't. He was only going to get 20 years.
Well, one thing is, and the
reason lies about that.
Well, the one thing is the reason why I brought up David Gentile, and it keeps popping in the comments. There's some debate on when he met Johnny Alite, but I have it at 99. It makes sense. I think he was like a South Jersey guy. In 91, he was still like in Howard Beach. Where I'm at, I have it at 99, but that's kind of where I land. I don't know where you land on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Somewhere around that time period, I don't have any reason to believe that he's lying about the time.
Let me ask you this: is there anything you believe that he says?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some of the stuff he says is true, but he also tells a lot of lies.
Why do you think? If you, in your opinion, why do you think?
Why do I think he does it?
Yeah.
I think that's who he is. I think he's a narcissist. I think he's a sociopath. I think he has a really big ego. And I think he's a pathological and compulsive liar. I think he gets off on people believing his stories. He's the mafia terminator in National Geographic. I mean, the guy's ridiculous. He's a legend in his own mind. I mean, the guy's literally, this is the guy who claims that he changed his life. He wants to help save the kids. And then all he does is talk about all the guys he's baseball batted, all the guys he's piped, all the guys he's murdered, all the guys he's killed. When the fact of the matter is, if he was honest, he would say that he only killed one person. And that's bad enough. I think anybody on here would agree that if you take a human life, whether it's 1 or 20, that's pretty bad, right?
Well, let me ask you this, and I think, and I think we have some common ground on the 6. I think we generally agree with most of the 6 that were researched. Is it fair to say if his story was, you know what, I was a Gotti friend, I was a Gotti associate, I was like the Howard Beach guy, after the 90s kind of did my own thing, and then just kind of like, stuck to that narrative and stuck to that kind of confines of the story and gave that information, right? Would that be okay with you, or the fact that he just cooperated turned you off? Just because I want to get what your kind of deeper thoughts are.
I listen. I'm not God. I'm a religious person. I'm not going to be the judge, jury, and executioner of anybody. People do things for their own reasons, and at the end of the day, they have to live with that. I'm not sitting here and judging somebody for a decision that they made, whether it was the decisions they made in life, pre, post, they cooperated or not. The bottom line is, I've been lied on before, so I know what people go through when guys get up there and they tell lies on people. And then you're prosecuted based on an information of somebody that is completely lying, and you have to fight for your right to prove that. And the fact that people go on with all the information they have, and this guy testified in 2 different trials, Both times the people either got fully acquitted or got hung juries, and he was discredited in both trials. He was so discredited in two trials that in the third trial with John Burke, where he was the star government witness, the reason that the grand jury got an indictment for this guy's murders, they didn't even call John Alite to that trial because he bombed so bad in the first two. Does that sound like somebody that tells the truth and is credible, or somebody that's a liar?
Let me.
I've never heard of Sammy Gravano going in and testifying in dozens of trials and them calling him a liar.
Well, I want to get to Sammy next. Okay. So, what are your thoughts on Anthony Ruggiano? Because that is Andy Ruggiano's son. It's the closest you're going to get
He's
to
a
the
liar.
Ruggiano family. How so?
Well, Anthony Ruggiano Jr. claims that he was, pretty much involved with John Alite in the street. He claims that he was involved with Gotti and all these things related to the Gambino family through his father and through these guys. That John Alite grew up and these guys did stuff together. Well, Anthony Ruggiano Jr. was also a cooperator, so how come he was never called to testify during any of these trials either in support of John Alite? Wasn't even mentioned.
What do you think? What do you think?
Because he didn't have anything to do with them. He had no information to give them. He wasn't he wasn't with these guys.
Now Anthony does.
This is all Tom. This is all a grift. Who did John Alite pick for his partner on his podcast?
Felix and then Gene.
Right, Gene. And who's Gene related to?
The Ruggianos.
Exactly. Wonder why. One hand washes the other.
But I would argue that they have a relationship. That's probably why he might have done it. I mean, I would.
Who does? Who has a relationship?
If I have a relationship with, let's say, Ruggianos, and Gene is her nephew, and he cooperates, I think that would facilitate being more comfortable with Gene, versus if he wasn't related to Ruggianos.
Or you pick Gene to give yourself credibility to back up your new stories about your relationship with the Ruggiano family. And then you bring these guys in and offer them money and get them interviews and get them on documentaries and help support your bullshit.
I haven't had the pleasure of talking to Anthony Ruggiano. I never spoke with him. I think he does media. If I were able to get him on and ask him these questions directly, would that raise your comfort level?
I'm sure he's a decent guy. Just what he has to say about Alite just isn't true. If he was, he would have been called in these trials. He's never called in any of them. He was never testified in any of them. And he never even mentioned John Alite in any of his stuff. Why would, if John Alite was so entrenched with John Gotti Sr. and John Gotti Jr., how come he was never a co-conspirator or on any indictments in any of these cases prior to him getting his own indictment? Why not? Why didn't in any of the first three Gotti Jr. trials, when all these guys cooperated and testified, Mikey Scars Leonardo, little Joey D'Angelo, Peter Butts-Sakara.
That's a quick one. That's a slippery slope, and we both know that because earlier on it was like Alite was nobody. He was Junior's friend growing up, and then all of a sudden near the end when he was facing time, Alite was a Terminator. Come on, man. We I don't know if we can hang our hat on Scar's testimony in regards to the Alite angle. I think we could agree on that.
Okay, so in Mikey Scars Leonardo 302s. When the government was asking Mikey Scars to go over, and he testified to this in trial, when they were asking him about the names on the wedding list of who these people were, and John Alite's name came up, in the FBI 302s where Mikey Scars is talking to the agents about who each person is, they ask, who is John Alite? He says, he's a capable guy. Guns and drugs. He was a childhood friend of John Gotti Jr. He got chased in the early 1990s. Those are Mikey Scars' own words in his 302s.
Yeah, but that's consistent with the narrative. With the
what Gotti Jr. says.
What the only thing though is, as I understand, there's proof of him at like a christening or something after that point in New Jersey with Junior and the baby.
That Angel talked about this last night. That picture was taken, I believe, in Long Island at her sister's house. She says John Alite is lying about where that picture was even taken.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can assume that we know how old the baby is. We know how old the child is. I think we could extrapolate that. But again, I don't know. But I don't think.
Yes, his son is 30 or 31 years old. That kid was a baby, 1 year old. It happened in 1990.
Yeah,
that's the kid that's in prison.
I don't think
that's the kid that's in prison right now, I believe.
I don't think anybody personally disagrees with. They were kind of friends in the 80s and then became associates from whatever 80, 89 to 92. Some say 94. But I don't think anybody disagrees with that channel. I don't think anybody reasonably disagrees with that. If we could switch
Well,
gears.
I disagree on the timeline based on Alite's own words.
Okay, just 'cause you brought it up. Where does Alite have it in your understanding, and then where do you have it in your research?
Well, Alite has continuously for the past year or two that's done on shows. I don't remember if it was yours or previous ones where he says that he was with the Gaudis and their entire family since 1981. You've heard him say this several times, right?
Yeah, but again, maybe I don't know. I don't mean to minimize any details, but
Uh,
whether it's 81 or 83 or 91 or 93, me personally, I don't find that super material. But I'm also not that vested in this argument in that sense. You know what I mean? But that's just
okay.
my humble
Well,
opinion.
well, I go by facts and I go by people saying. If you don't know if you were friends with a guy in 1981 or 1984, I'm sorry, but
Well,
I don't believe it.
I can say one of the shootings that he did in Vito Guzzo's place. I spoke to the guy that was supposed to have retribution on behalf of Vito Guzzo, and he said at the time he was protected by Gotti. I have to ask him again for that date. And then there was a time that he lost his protection from Gotti, and I'll work to get that date. That might be a good reference point from somebody that I've been speaking
Yeah,
to,
it's
and I
when
can
he
get that
got chased in
information.
1991, 92.
Well, again, I appreciate your opinion. I can and I don't have no reason to discount it either,
In
right?
John
So
in
yeah,
John Alite's own 302s and testimony, he stated that he was chased in the early 1990s, and at the time he was sneaking back into Queens so he could see his ex-wife and his two kids, and he was worried about getting seen at a stop sign or stoplight and somebody shooting him in the head. If he wasn't chased, then why can't you go back to Queens?
yeah. Again, I'm not disagreeing or discounting what you're saying. What I'm saying is that's if you have that as part of in writing.
Yeah, it's in his 302s. And then his
Okay,
brother, and then as a matter of fact, to qualify it, you remember the letter that they brought up during the John Gotti Jr. trial
that
that
I
they
do
found when they were cleaning out one of the offices?
that I do remember. Yes.
Right. Well, until Jimmy Alite, John Alite's brother, and him had the little reconciliation.
Ooh,
Jimmy Alite had
five
previous.
eleven. Sorry, keep going. Sorry, buddy.
Sorry about that. Yeah, 5'11". Jimmy Alite and John Alite had their little falling out in their beef originally, and then Jimmy Alite was actually suing his brother for stealing money from him from deals that they had worked out a few years ago. Well, Jimmy Alite had went on the Frank Morano show and the Gunnar Lindblom show and talked about what he thinks is wrong with his brother and was verifying and qualifying, speaking about the letters and what those were all about. And Jimmy Alite confirms and supports what came up during the trial, which was that John Alite was writing those letters from when he was staying down in New Jersey. Jimmy Alite was hand delivering them to John Gotti Jr. at his clubs and trying to work out an agreement to save his brother's life. So now you have John Alite's own brother Jimmy and John Gotti Jr. in the testimony in the trial. So are these guys telling the truth, or is John Alite telling the
Well,
truth that?
let me ask you now. Now we're talking. Now I actually spoke with Jimmy Alite not that long ago, and I could have him on and I could press him on this. I'd be happy
Yeah,
to. I'd be happy to.
good. I
No,
don't think he's going
not,
to tell
not,
you the truth, but sure.
well, hold on, man. We got to pick a lane. If you're saying he was telling the truth then, but if you have him on now, he's not going to tell the truth.
No,
How do we
no, he
know?
wasn't.
How do
He's
we?
never. No, no. Jimmy Alite was telling the truth about what those letters were.
No, no. What
John
I'm saying is
Alite.
correct. What I'm
Uh,
saying is I would like to have Jimmy on so he can give some context on the letters and the negotiation. So that could be another resource that we could look into and we can unpack that as well. You know what I mean? That's all.
I got you.
Yeah. I wanna kind of graduate to another kind of subject if it's okay. Sammy, right? And Sammy in the Forbes article stated that if Alite was Italian, he would be made. He spoke against him very complimentary. He later did an
Mm.
about face on Value Entertainment and said, "Hey, he gave me money," and I kind of went a different direction. Which are we supposed to believe? You know?
Well, I'm under the impression that Sammy Gravano is telling the truth now about why he did it because he was asked on another platform, a big platform that he's working on, that project with Michael Francesi on, which is the Mafia States of America. And Patrick had asked him several times previously to speak about John Alite, and neither one of them kind of did. And then finally, he asked him the other day, what's the story with this guy, John Alite? And did you know him? What was the deal with that? And Sammy said, okay, I'm going to tell you what really happened. When I first got out of prison after doing the 18 years, John Alite came to me and threw me $3,000. This guy just did 18 years. He lost every single penny he had. They took his house, they took his properties, they took all of his money. He's got nothing. A guy throws you $3,000, and then he offers. Not only does he not tell people this, but he got Sammy Gravano his first entertainment agency, publicity agency, and his attorney, Doug Anton. I believe that's the guy's name.
Yeah, I know, Doug.
And John Alite has admitted this, and so has Sammy Gravano. Now, as a businessman, if you have clients, right? Say you have two clients as an entertainment or publicity person, right? These guys don't know each other. They might not even get along. In your agreement, you're going to have an agreement that while you're under the umbrella of that agency, you cannot besmirch another client of that company because that will do what?
It could
It will
hurt
hurt any
franchise, but
future dealings
generally,
and business transactions and money you're going to make.
I do some media representation. It would be like, I'll give you an example. If you and I have the same agent and we just kind of disagree or not aligned on certain things, I may not go with that agent, but I generally wouldn't sign something that says what I can say and not say. I'm
No,
not.
but it's a general principle that you're not going to besmirch somebody who's also in the same group as you because that's going to hurt your revenue stream.
Well, let me ask you this then. I'm filtering what you're saying, right? And what Sammy's saying. Sammy's saying, hey, you know what? Gave me $3K, right? I gave him carte blanche. But what I'm struggling with is he sat down with Richard Behar, he sat down with Forbes, gave specific information, and I'm just giving you as a media guy, if you're going to give incorrect information to a media professional, you're going to burn your bridges and lose all credibility, and that's worth a lot more than $3,000. And Sammy
Why?
Hold
on 1 second. How are they going to prove that what Sammy Gravano told him is or isn't true unless he goes and tells them that I was lying?
Well, that's a point. Then how is he true or isn't true? If he's like, well, he gave me $3K and I sandbagged. I'm just trying to weigh both sides here. I'm not an advocate in any way, but you're based off the facts. So which Sammy do we believe? Do we believe the Value Entertainment Sammy, or do we believe the Perfect Gangster Sammy? That was just my question.
I don't know. I guess it's a personal opinion. Do you think that the story that Sammy's telling is true? Is it likely that Alite gave him $3,000? He came to find out after the fact that, this guy's full of shit after talking with people and says, I'm not going to support this guy anymore. He's going to bury me with him because everybody knows the guy's a liar. I don't know. Ask Sammy.
I believe that, he gave him some money, right? I don't think that's a stretch.
He said he did.
Yeah. So we're agreement there, check box, right? But where it gets a little murky is I don't know if somebody's going to stretch the truth that much for $3K for somebody who's as savvy as Sammy. I'd like to have Sammy on someday. I could always ask him if he comes on. But
why? So my question is, we'll play the devil's advocate. Why would he make that up? What does he get out of making that up? You got to remember. John Alite was calling this guy the greatest gangster of all time. He was the real hero. He was, John Gotti had nothing on him. Sammy Gravano was the real head of that family. He was the killer. All this. Now all of a sudden, John Alite's doing videos about how Sammy's a low life. Gotti wanted to kill him. He killed the little kid. Why wasn't John Alite saying that all the past 3 years then? Well, he's flip flopping too.
Yeah,
so he's flip flopping too.
But here's the thing, right? Can we agree? Can we agree that at the bare minimum, that with Sammy and Gotti Sr.'s testimony, that people would argue that there was a lot of stuff in there that was fabricated, a lot of stuff there that was blatantly untrue, and that, although people feel that Gotti's own words buried him, it was Sammy's testimony, which a lot of people found credulous, right? With that being said, is when does Sammy automatically become the truth teller when he talks about Alite? You understand, but we're trying to be impartial and weigh both sides and keep an open mind. But the Sammy point, I don't think is a strong counterpoint on if you're not on Team Alite. I struggle with that one, brother. I can't. I don't know if I could co-sign that one. That's all.
I'm not on either one of their teams. Yeah. So why would I care if I tell?
No. What I'm saying is people found Sammy to be incredulous, and they have a right for that opinion. Then he spoke positively about him, but then it seems like he Yes.
And John Alite did the same. John Alite said he was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Gave the guy $3,000 in hopes that he was going to come on and do exactly what he did by giving him an interview for his little perfect gangster flip and saying nice things about him, which is why John Alite greased this guy 3 grand. John
But
Alite
that,
didn't
but
know
that's,
this
but
guy.
that, but that, but
So let
that's
me
my
ask you a question. Why
sure.
would you give a guy 3 grand you don't know? Unless you want him to do something for you that he could give you an air of credibility for. So
That's
can you give me 3 grand so I can come on and say nice things
that
about you?
you are 100% right. Credibility matters, right? In media, although there's a lot of fake news, credibility matters, right? So with credibility, Sammy can provide that credibility. I'm with you on that.
Exactly.
The part I struggle with is he got a good amount of money for his 3K. Then the guy went on record with Forbes, with a reputable, journalist, to say, "Hey, if this guy was Italian, he'd be made." That's a big fucking bold statement, man. That's not a small statement. Like we could agree, that's not a small thing. For that, for
So,
shit, for three
so
K, that's kind of a big deal, to be honest. You know.
yeah, I mean, but you'd have to look at the time that it was and how desperate the guy was at the time. This was before he had his podcast. This was before he started linking up with Patrick Bet David. This was before he had all the revenue and income he's coming in now. 3 grand might have been a big deal to the guy at the time.
Well,
I don't know.
but to go that far, then the other part is, people
If
say,
that's
well,
all he got from him, though.
correct, and I'm not disagreeing with it. What I'm saying is, I'll give you an example, right? So when I was very harsh on a light, I had a whole bunch of people that like came out of nowhere, and my subs actually went up. Believe it or not, right? Not that the subs count matter, but I just did that as a barometer to see how well people receive the show, right? And then I did a second show, which I thought I was fair. I thought I was poignant. I thought I was professional. I thought I tackled the 6 things I wanted to do. And then those same people came at me pretty hard, saying I'm not reputable and platforming rats. So like, you can't be a bellwether. You can't be like a bellwether person. You can't be like, well, a fair weather person. Like, hey, there's a narrative, right? So when it goes
Yeah,
against what you think and feel, right?
yeah.
That's okay, but don't try to mitigate that as fact. I'd rather people say, you know what, my moral constitution does not allow me to support, people that ratted, and I don't like the guy. I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. And you know what? I just categorically disagree with everything he believes in. I'll see you later, right? But what I'm getting at is there's proactive, right? So I'll give you an example. He was like in Europe for like 6 weeks, right?
Yep.
And there were people still talking about him, meaning like he went off air, he disbanded the show, was maybe posting on social media, was doing virtually no media, and he went
Yeah.
quiet, right? So I
Yep.
was observing the shows and this and that, and the people were still coming at him pretty hard. So it's like, the knock on him is that he comes after these people so hard, but when he was on a hiatus for 8 weeks, people still kept coming for him. I just think this is like a never-ending Hatfield and McCoy type situation. You know what I mean?
No, I mean I'll agree with you, but is my volume going up or loud? Because I changed
I
rooms.
have you. I have you.
I
Okay.
think it was
I'm gonna.
echoing.
I'm gonna drop a link if anybody wants to come in and weigh in, good, bad, or ugly. Just respectful comments for Common Sense and I. We're gonna be wrapping up soon, but yeah, Common Sense.
Yeah,
Continue. I'm sorry.
so I want to comment on Lee Cole the third here. Common Sense has an agenda, and he will defend Grano, the biggest rat ever, just to get at A-Light, who is nothing. When have I ever defended Sammy Gravano? The guy's a fucking cooperator and an informant and a rat, dude. How am I how how am I supporting Gravano? We're talking about whether or not Gravano lied for A-Light for the 3 grand and is telling the truth now, or if he's lying for some other agenda. So I don't know what I don't understand what people's agendas are and stuff in the chat just to rile people up, or are they even listening to what we're saying here? Because I don't get it.
Well, let me ask you this. I didn't see Angel's piece. She's always respectfully. She's always welcome to air her opinion. She's always welcome to air her thoughts. She has my contact information. You have my contact information. Generally, when you do a piece on somebody, any reason why I wasn't involved or mentioned or like reach out to, so I could have possibly had an active discussion. I don't know. Was there any reason why?
You're asking me why Angel didn't reach out to you?
Well, or for example, I know you jumped on. You have my number. You're gonna text me, hey, we're gonna be chatting about you. Tune in. And even not to
I,
jump on,
I did.
just
I did. I sent you a message,
you
and
sent me
I
you
was
sent me a
trying to
message
reach out to you, and I
yesterday.
never heard back.
You sent me a message yesterday.
Not yesterday, like a week or so ago, a week and a half
Oh,
ago.
I've
And
been I've been got married. I got got a lot of
I,
life, a very positive life changing events.
I understand that.
Yeah, you gotta get on
My
get on that
my
list,
whole
brother, because I've been busy.
right. My whole thing is this, right? And I explained this to you off the phone for the people that
Yeah,
don't know, because we
yeah,
had a good talk earlier today,
very
right?
good talk.
And you weren't too happy about some of the things that you were told that I said yesterday. And I told you I absolutely did say them. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah,
And I stand on what I said, because to me it seemed after the conversations that we had that you were going to call me back and we were going to talk about some of the topics and information that I gave you before you had John Alite back on your show. I jump on the
um,
Angel Gotti podcast last night, and she's
yeah,
telling everybody how she's upset and how Tom just did this show with somebody that's telling lies, blah, blah, blah. So I said, oh, I didn't see that. What is this all about? So I jumped off of the show,
yeah.
went over to your channel, and I saw that you did an interview with John Alite. And I says, wow, it's called a reconciliation. And he's acting all nice with you. It's all buddy. You're asking him about his new adventures and all this stuff. And I said, wow, to me, that's telling me that you were more concerned about getting him back on your show because he brings you views than you were at getting at the truth to finding out whether or not the last show that you did with him was where you were going to take it in the future. So to
Well,
me, as
you
somebody who
were
watches these channels and looks,
yeah.
it appears to me as though that's what was going on. And I
No,
think a lot of people will probably agree.
and that is a uh, fair thought. You're welcome to feel that way. I can never immediately change how you feel. Only actions speak louder than the words. What I can say to that is one, I share with you. I'd rather keep that private. As to why I didn't have you
Yeah,
tie up. Whether you agree or disagree, we talk about it privately. So we'll keep that private. But number two,
yeah,
on the 6 points that we discussed earlier, that was aforementioned, that I felt comfortable enough presenting those 6 points. Now, whether you like it or not, in media, somebody comes on your show, they're a guest of your show. They're typically promoting something. They're typically doing something. I was harsh on him the first time, so this might have been more amicable. But my goal was to ask those 6 things. I asked him, did he regret testifying on Gotti? Does he, I thought I was more than fair. But again, you're welcome to have your opinion. But I thought I was very fair in that interview. Just because I wasn't as hard on him as the first interview, I could see why the optics looked bad. But I felt I was reasonable, and I felt I was fair, which is the best you can do, knowing that I was going to get some pushback. Hence, that's why you're here, and I give you, 122 minutes, or I'm sorry, an hour and 22 minutes of airtime, because I think it's only fair. If you're going to have a point, you have to have a counterpoint. Hopefully you can appreciate that.
yeah. No, I appreciate it. I told you, when we spoke that I will come on and we could have a, amicable discussion. We
Yeah.
can agree to disagree and talk it out like gentlemen and leave
Yeah,
it at that. I
and
have no problem doing that.
I actually think that I think we're closer than farther on some things. Don't get me wrong, there's certain stuff we're not going to be able to reconcile. And also, I'm not the advocate of him either, right? I'm just trying to provide, entertainment and try to be most responsible as I can. I'm going to follow up to see if I can get Anthony Reggiano on. I'm going to see if I can get Jimmy Alite on. I'm going to check out the Vlad interview. I'm going to try to get some more information on CIs. By getting either former FBI agents that are experts and/or defense attorneys. So I think this is like a live and ongoing discussion, and I want to see. I'm not getting any takers about coming on, so I'll drop the link one more time. I'm surprised out of 355 people, nobody wants to come on. Maybe they don't like his common sense, or maybe they don't like me.
I don't know. It's probably me, according to the chat or something. People are asking who I am. I'm a nobody or something. Blah blah
Well,
blah.
I want
I
to, I
must be
want to,
getting
I want
paid.
to,
I must be getting paid by the Gotti family, who I don't even
well,
know. I talked to Angel one
I
time
want to get,
yesterday.
really quick comments. I want to give some color as to why common sense is here, and one is he, I believe he was a newer viewer of the show, and something came on topic, and he popped on, and we had a good discussion. It was reasonable discussion. We kind of went back and forth a little bit, but a reasonable discussion. We did talk offline, and I feel that he's credible in a sense where he gave reputable information. He's very well versed on it. We may not agree on some of the subjectivity of stuff. He you could tell he has a criminal law degree. A lot of times it's like you connect dots to finish the star. Me, kind of my training is like I'm more of like a black and white guy, where like if it's not all there, you can't be a little pregnant. So it doesn't mean anybody's wrong. It just may mean kind of different disciplines and that kind of stuff. So I found him to be very credible. The fact that he went on Angel Gotti's show, the fact that she would allow him on, I know she wouldn't just allow anybody on, should lend some credibility in terms of at least she believes his opinion. And the truth of the matter is, I like the guy. Just because he disagrees with something I say or is critical on me on 2 shows, I had to throw that in, on 2 shows, doesn't mean him and I could have a respectful opinion and respectful discussion with one another. And that's what it's about. I'm not perfect. Last night I got a little heated on Lee's show. I did apologize to him. But nevertheless, I do appreciate. I'm going to drop this one more time, and it looks like we have no takers. Maybe people are being a little shy tonight. Usually, common sense is people in the waiting room, and I can't get to them quick enough. But I'll drop it one more time.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like guys that are in the chat are, in support of Alite. They should come on and talk about it. I guess I'm open to hear some things about it.
Well, let me ask you this. And again, I get shit for this. I always say Nelson Mandela broke bread with his captors. Do you think there's any chance that those two could have some sort of reconciliation together? Maybe
Absolutely
not. No. Okay. Why do you think?
Dude, this guy testified him against court and tried to get him the death penalty and told lies about him and continues to this day about his family. Would you?
Me, probably not. But like I said, I mean,
Right. So there you go.
Yeah, and that was on a layup, but but again, it's I'm not overly religious, but I do believe in the Christian belief of where you start. It's not where you start; it's where you end. And as far as I know, as far as I know, and you stop me if I'm wrong, I don't think John Alite has been committed any crimes since he's been out. He's a very public guy. He did state that he did a lot of talks, so I know that could maybe be a starting point, or I could be nuts.
That could be a starting point for what?
Like I'm just saying, like everybody kind of says he's a bad dude, and all these things. Maybe the fact that if he continues to fly straight, continues not to commit crimes.
I don't have an opinion on whether he's a bad guy, whether he's a good guy, whether he's a changed guy. My opinion is simply based on the fact that the guy lies, and there's hard, cold evidence out of the guy's own mouth that he does, and he will not admit it to this day, and he continues to double down on it. And people keep asking in here, why do I care? Why does it matter? I mean, it's like anybody else who's interested in a subject. Like I told you before, we can come out and talk about 100 different subjects and have the same conversation. Just because we're having this conversation, that doesn't mean this is like all I know. I'm not paid by the Gotti family. Nobody's paying me. I don't even know them. And just because we're having a conversation about it means what? It's not credible. So go and Google and research the stuff for yourself and find out if anything that we're saying right now isn't true. There you go.
Which is fair. Anything that you, on the first or second interview, anything that you heard from him that might have been newer or got a different spin that you researched that he actually was right about? Just so I get some context. I want to try to something that, oh, you know what? He said this, I did a little research. You know what? I'll give him that. I'm just trying to get some type of,
I'll be honest with you. I only watched the first 20 something minutes of it. I can only take so much of that guy.
Well, so here's the thing though. If you're gonna comment publicly on the interview, it's always a good idea to get the whole reference, because I felt like I was fair in a lot of my questions. And as the interview progressed, and as we got more comfortable, remember we were contentious. I thought I asked some fair questions, and I thought I thought it was fair. I got feedback that on both sides. I got, hey, you this was a lollipop one. There was a layup. I don't know. And then the other one was, hey, you know what? At least you were fair with the guy this time. Versus a lot of people felt I sandbagged him. So
here's the thing though, and it's something that was spoken about on Angel's show last night.
Yeah.
With and I'm not going to put words in somebody else's mouth, but Dominic, Justice Tech Pros, came on and he was explaining that and it's something that I agree about, is that if you're gonna put somebody on your show and you're gonna platform them, by giving somebody a platform and repeatedly having them on, knowing all the problems and issues that they have with a lot of this stuff this guy says, wouldn't you think you would do enough homework and due diligence to be able to do follow-up questions when you ask him something and he gives you an answer?
Well,
Anytime he would give you an
that
answer,
was
anytime he gave you an answer, I'm just telling you from
yeah.
watching it. Anytime he would give you an answer, it was accepted and it was on to the next thing. It was
Well,
never a, let me cut
well,
you off. That's a lie.
well
I know this. I know that. It seemed like you just accepted anything that the guy says and then moved on to the next part.
Well, I like Dominic. I respect Dominic. He's an intelligent guy. When he says something critical, I hold that with higher level of weight because I have a certain level of admiration for what he does and who he is.
Yes.
But
Mm-hmm.
what I can say, is the first interview was very hard and rough, right? And when I did that said interview that was hard and rough, there wasn't a reaction video. There wasn't other podcasts. I wasn't whatever, right? So then on the second one, I literally researched these 6 points and went through those 6 points with him as if it was an agenda meeting and as if it was something that I painstakingly went over a period of time. We did talk about things after that, but within those 6 context points, I'm able to intelligibly shoot back. Give me a second, George. Shoot back and fire back. But outside of that, it's hard to push back if I don't have the context or have the proof. Let's let George on. Hey, man, how are you, buddy?
Tom, how you doing, brother?
Very well. Happy holidays to you early, and it's always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
Happy holidays, you too. Hey, I just wanted to pop in, say hello to you. I saw your show yesterday with Tony on Lee stuff over there, man. I think you articulated yourself very well. You got nothing to apologize, in my opinion. You're a man sticking up for his damn family. I would have done the same thing, given what you were going through. And this man, Common Sense, obviously, I don't know the man, but you can't see his face, but he's articulates himself very well. Sounds like he's done his due diligence on the subject. And, you know, I think you always do that, man. People, I heard Lee say it comes off condescending, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I'm a street guy, dude. I've been on a roof 40 years, 35 years, whatever, my whole life. But you're not condescending, man. You do your due diligence. You come from a back. So anybody that has, in my opinion, you always strive to find, if you're looking forward in life, you try to find people that expand their knowledge or try to move up a little bit in life and do some things. And but you sound like you always you're always investigating and doing things. That's my opinion anyway, or like back time on it. So.
Wow. Well, George, one I could say that means a lot coming from you. I know we talked a little bit offline, we talked a little bit online. You're a stand-up guy. I appreciate you. To be honest with you, looking at you, I don't think anybody's making fun of anything about you because I wouldn't.
Hey, check this out, man. I'm doing a clean out, right, for a friend of mine.
Yeah.
I just did 15 hours on a roof, so now I'm doing a clean out. So this is ghetto chic. Check it out, man. You can see a background. It's ghetto. This is a green screen, ghetto chic. Want me to send it to you? I'll send it to you.
Please,
it's a green screen, brother.
I love it. So, you obviously gave a nice compliment to Common Sense. He was articulate on the subject. Now that you're here for shits and giggles, where do you land on the whole thing? I don't know if you saw the first interview, the second interview, and where do you kind of land,
Because Lee had done that whole thing with him and his brother that I did happen to catch. I think if you really press him, you really press Alite, he'll just hang up or he pulls the bullshit with his phone that it don't work or this, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Yeah. I've seen a couple things with it. Like, so say this guy, Common Sense, I mean, he's hitting with facts. The guy's obviously done some background. He's done due diligence on the subject. I mean, if you really start hitting him with things like that or that nature, and then, and then it always comes back with, if you start talking to him about, from what I see, you start talking to him about something, and he goes, "Oh, I'm just talking about these kids. I'm trying to save these kids." And that's my opinion, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Well, let me ask you as a viewer, because I consider you a friend, but you're also a viewer, and I trust if ever I don't do good, I know you'll let me know. But usually you see my show, I try, man, I really do. At least I try.
I think you do. Everybody says I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Tom. I apologize.
Go
back. Everybody says you're not trying to like go for the jugular or whatever. They like trying to really. They want you to hammer the shit out of that. Some people just want to see you hammer the shit out of somebody. You try to you do what you can. You try to get out the questions the best you can and get the response. Well, like I said, if you really get hard on him, he'll just hang up or he'll do whatever. You know what I mean? I don't. That's my opinion of it.
Oh, hold
But
on.
finish what you were saying. I'm sorry.
No,
or
real quick, Bama, I responded earlier. Check. Sometimes my emails go to spam. Check it out. Responded earlier today. Go ahead, guys. Sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, or when you ask him a question that you want an answer for, he's hard pressed on. He doesn't want to answer. He'll just start rambling and talking about something else, dropping 200 names and some other story that you didn't even ask the guy about.
Exactly.
Well, I will tell you this. I can say that, doing God now probably 450 interviews. He's a media professional. Let's call it what it is. He's done a few of these.
Absolutely.
I've always had a good rapport with him. Always, but he's not an easy interview either because he sometimes wants to give a lot of. I'm going to say something. You guys are going to probably throw something at me.
Overload you, right?
I think he comments. I think you actually may agree with this, or you're going to throw sure at me, either or. But I think he gives too much information that he doesn't
He just
need
overloads
to,
the shit out of you,
and that may affect his credibility. Common sense. Can we maybe align on that a little bit?
You were in sales, right, Tom?
I was.
Right. So what does a good salesperson need to be able to do?
Listen.
And what else?
talk
Close.
shit.
Talk bullshit, dude. Yeah. And when you don't know something, you fucking make something up. You don't want to answer something, you know your way to weasel around it and talk about something else. You're gonna tell me that in all your years of professional experience,
hey,
you
a
don't
roofing
think does?
Well, I'm going to give a little plug for my book, The X Factor Selling System. I'm going to give a plug for my book. And I have my new website, and I didn't even promote it yet. People think I'm this marketing genius. I have a fucking website, and it's like sitting there collecting dust. But anyway, in my book, believe it or not, I talk about you have to go in somebody else's shoes and find out what motivates them in order to influence them. If you focus on what you give a shit about in your agenda, you might win in the short term, but you'll lose in the long term. So I kind of agree, but I disagree in the sense where, if he was smart, which I think he is in terms of interviewing, he would let me speak and try to direct the interview in a way that's favorable to him versus over talking, which may hurt credibility. You know what I mean?
Well, he goes, no, we're going to get with dates and get with this. I can't remember what the fuck I did 2 days ago. How the hell are you going to remember 5 years ago on this street at this time, next to this fucking street light, next to that fucking, there was a piece of paper down there that said fucking Newcastle on it. Like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, how do you remember all this shit? I don't get it, man. I don't know.
And so we'll just back that up a few minutes where Tom said, where I brought up the thing about, the dates and times, because Alite always says, his favorite line is that I'm really good with names and dates and places and times. So anybody can go and Google this and look this up. And then I brought up the fact that this guy says that he's been friends with somebody since 1981, when this guy's autobiography and books say that he didn't know the guy until 1984. So what happened to you being so good with dates, names, and times and remembering everything, and you don't remember you didn't meet the guy until 3 years later?
Right. I mean, I got to take your word for it because it sounds like you put the time into it. I mean, I don't know. I don't have that kind of time to put into it, and it's not that much. I'm just,
I'll be honest with you. I don't have that much time in it. I just have a photographic memory, and if I read something,
do you just got a hard on for this guy? I mean, are you just like, hey, man, this dude's full of whatever?
I can care less. I just don't like liars, man.
Well, I don't like them either, but I don't spend that much time on them. I just move them out, just kick them to the curb, man. You're out of my life in 30 seconds. If I know you're full of shit, I just move on, man.
Right. Is there anything that you like that you're passionate about that other people find weird or bizarre information that you know that you're like?
No. I'm not knocking you. I'm asking you why. I mean, you obviously put a shitload of time into this and due diligence, and I mean, you're articulated. You're an intelligent man. I mean, you articulate well, so I'm asking you why. I'm just curious. For me, I'm just asking personally.
I don't have any particular reason. I didn't have to come on here and do this. I just make comments.
Right. Neither do I. I don't have to come on here.
Right.
I just come on here and say, I think Tom's a good dude, man. I think he gets a lot of shit for no good reason, in my opinion. I think he's just a good fucking guy to try to help people.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think if people, he's condescending, he's drinking whiskey and smoking, the man did good for himself. He should be able to enjoy a cigar and some whiskey. He takes care of his family. All his children are fed. He has 16 fucking people that he deals with. Why can't the man enjoy a cigar? What, he's condescending? If you don't like it, don't watch, man. I don't get it, man. Like, why is it such that big of a deal?
Well,
He's a
I'm
good dude, man.
convinced.
Tries to do good things. Not only that, Vinny and Joe and all these guys are good people, man. So, and that's
Well,
personally behind the scenes. I've spoken with them. I've done. So, believe me, they're not bad
well,
people. They're
you,
good people.
well, you know just as well. You know, you've done what, probably a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 roofs in your life. You know, no matter how many good ones you do, you get one bad one, and there's 200 people talking about it. They're never talking about the ones you did right. You know.
No, well, I give you a good warranty. If it don't rain, it won't leak, bro.
You know.
Well, hold
Yeah.
on.
Well, there you go.
Common sense. I got
No,
to tell
I'm
you.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Common sense in Georgia. I got to tell you something. The people that says I shouldn't smoke cigars and have whiskey and all that kind of stuff, those are actually my wife's fake accounts because she wants me to stop.
I can believe that, man. I can believe that.
That's funny.
Tommy
And
Streets
what
is
he
another
said,
good dude. Yeah, sorry.
and I don't mean to start no shit, Tom, but what he said to you at the end of that thing yesterday was
Yeah.
uncalled for. A lot of it was uncalled for, man. You did the right thing. You carried yourself the right way. You said what you needed to say. You said what any fucking man in my book would have said.
Yeah.
I'm protecting my family with my fucking life, and that's bottom line. So
What are you
you're
talking
a
about?
fucking man in my book, brother. Oh, just an interview he did yesterday.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
With
I was on
John?
with Lee. Yeah, no, I was on with Lee Cole, and it might have been even during your interview when you were on with Angel, and I got into it
Oh,
with another, I guess I'll call it creator, and I lost my stack. I typically don't, especially when it comes to
No, you
me.
didn't. No, you didn't. You were listen because he kept pressing you and saying some things, and you came back. I mean, and you got mad, and even the guy that you were on with has gotten mad in the past about things that happened to him. So everybody's got their breaking point, man. There's
That's
so
true.
much shit, only so much shit you can handle, and everybody sees what they see on here, but they don't see the behind. I'm assuming you and I have never spoken about it, but there was things that have been said behind because you had brought that up, and
Yeah,
it's just, I mean, a betrayal of trust. If I can't trust you, I got no fucking use for you, man.
yeah,
You're useless to me.
yeah,
If I give you my listen, if I shake your hand, I look you in the fucking eye, and I give you my word, I'll die on it.
yeah.
I die in that word. That's what it is. So.
Thank you, George.
I
And that
like I
and that's
said, man,
appreciated.
you're a good dude, man. Don't let these guys get to your whatever. They're just trying to get a rise out of you, and whatever. It is what it is, and I don't give a shit what people say about me anyway.
Well, George, you know you're always welcome to come on. What do you do for the
Yeah.
holidays? What's your plan for the
Uh,
holidays?
we're gonna keep a little. My daughter's most important, so I'm gonna do what I got to do with my kid, and then that's it. We'll play it by ear from there. So
God
work, and that's
bless.
it.
What
hey,
go ahead.
we should have the guy in the chat, James, on. He has a lot to say. You should invite him on and say your piece. You say everything that we're saying
See,
is wrong. We're not saying
I
anything
don't
right.
even
Come
see
on.
none of this shit. Who's he talking about? Me, you, who?
I don't know. He said he's gonna send emails. Nobody knows what they're talking about. He has no idea what he's talking about. Tom, drop the link again. Come on and we'll talk
Who are
about it.
you? No, you don't
I
know what
don't
you're
know.
talking about.
I
Oh.
guess I don't know what I'm talking about. Something probably. So come
That
on,
doesn't matter.
Tom, drop the
Listen,
link.
why do you let it bother you? It's one guy out
It's
of
not.
what, 350 million in this country? Who cares?
No, it's not bothering me. I'm saying, come on and we'll talk about it. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, you're right, man.
Hey, George, let
You
me
know what
ask
I
you
mean?
real quick. Let me ask you a question because you seem like you have a breaking point. But you also seem like a pretty laid back guy in a sense. If you had a
I
show, do you think you could have a show and you'd be able to deal with it, or
no.
you?
But number one, I don't have the time. Number
Yeah,
two, if somebody had it, I would be, teeth out if somebody attacked my family or somebody said
yeah,
something about my family,
yeah,
my daughter, or anything like that. I mean, no, I couldn't do that.
yeah.
I give you a hell of a lot of credit, man. A hell of a lot of credit.
No,
But I am going to pick your brain coming up about, the side houses and all the other stuff you got going
I
on.
am
You
here.
guys
Well,
put
so
it, you put,
go ahead.
you put great content out, and I don't understand why these people, like most. I mean, and again, this is my opinion. I got
Yeah,
my opinion. Other people have theirs. They're welcome to it. I got guys, friends of mine that I went to school with, family members that have died for the right. So, you know,
yeah.
it's
Well,
I just think you're a solid dude. And I know you are because
thank you.
behind the scenes we've spoken and
Yeah,
Vinny and like, so I know you are. But I'm not a guy that comes on here and say that shit's personal between you and I or Vinny and I or whoever
yeah.
and Joe and I, whatever. But it just bothers me that people come on here and just talk shit and they have no clue what the fuck they're talking about. They
Well,
don't know you personally, but they'll run
yeah,
their mouth.
yeah. Well,
All right,
It's pretty fucking.
that's one thing.
Go ahead.
No,
I'm
that's one
sorry.
thing I could say that I agree with you on that. You know, it takes a certain person and a certain person's character to be able to come on and deal with people that come on here and say this stuff because people are ridiculous, man.
well, I will tell you this, and George, I appreciate the feedback because I'm going to do more of like the business stuff and the stuff that I think is actually more important. Because if I could show you how to make a few extra bucks, and while you're not on the roof, you're doing other stuff as a side hustle to provide for your daughter. That's what fucking matters to me. And I thought that was a good one. I'm gonna do. It's not hard. It's not easy, but I'm gonna try to do top 5 passive income side hustles where try to get mailbox money without putting too
Those
much
are the
out.
best. It's almost
time's
like
premium.
right. It's almost like triple net real estate where you're not doing jack shit. The lessee's doing
Correct.
everything.
Correct.
I try to expand my knowledge of things. Listen, man, I didn't have nothing when I grew up, man. Thankfully my dad taught me a trade. I say roofer, but I do copper and slate roof and high end roof. And I'm not tooting my horn. I'm not saying I'm something special because I'm not. I'm just a working man.
You're special. You're what makes
I'm
this
not
country
listen,
great. You're a father.
Goddamn.
George, hold on. I'm gonna gas you up a little bit. My father was not around when I grew up. That's why I'm around for my children. That's why my children are everything to me. So just the fact that you're fucking present makes you a fucking man. That's it.
Well,
that's it.
I think you need glasses, brother. But anyways, hey, and you did say I had a fucking face like a fist the first time I came on. So
I'm a tough guy behind the screen, George.
Yeah. No, I got to be. Come on, man. But anyways, like I said, man, you did nothing wrong. I don't think you did anything wrong, and I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not starting no fucking shit here. Yeah. Not saying anything. I just, in my way, you carried yourself like a fucking man in my eyes. So
thank you, sir. It means
and I'm a fucking supposed street. They say street guys. I grew up in the projects with nothing. Whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm not a tough guy. I'm nothing. I'm nothing special. Just the guy who's worked my whole life. And like I said, this guy common sense. I don't know who's talking shit or what they're doing, but who cares, man? If they're talking shit about you, they're leaving some other poor bastard alone. You could take it, right?
Oh, I don't care. I just invited them to come on.
Who gives a shit? Let them say what they got to say, man. Well, I don't like Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, also, in respect to common sense, it's not easy to come on. You know what I mean? Like, I know, like, he's good now, but, like, it's not easy. Him and I don't have – Lucho, give us a second, buddy. We don't have no script. It's live. Anything can happen. I would never sandbag him. I don't think he would sandbag me. But this isn't a layup. Right. So, like, the fact that
you were on with that psychiatrist the other day. I caught a minute of it, and that guy came on saying some crazy, crap about whatever somebody hanging from a ball sack or some shit.
Yeah, that was
I don't know what the hell he's talking. Yeah, I was like, I don't even get that one, bro. But hey, Big Lou, man, I seen him on with you guys, man. That dude's a good dude, man. I see him from now on out, from time to time, man. This side, man. I don't know him personally, but he seems like a solid dude, man.
He's a good man, and so it's funny because I believe it or not, you know why I jumped on Lee's yesterday was because he was getting on. Again, I'm not going to get on him, and we don't want to rehash it. But like the guy is like an Emmy winner. He's a psychologist, and I don't have to agree with his political beliefs. That's his opinion. Just
right, but he was saying, and then when you. And I'm sorry, Tom, I didn't mean to cut you off, man. There's a little bit of a lag. But when you were explaining the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist and fucking all your voodoo mind tricks and all this crazy, I don't know. That's and I've been around guys like that. And I'm not trying to down the man. I'm not downing him whatsoever. Yeah. What I'm saying to you is you were explaining it, you weren't being condescending if he thinks you were. I don't know. But you were trying to just tell him there's a difference between, the two and whatnot. So.
Thank you. Well, my wife likes you, George, so you're okay. Now you're okay. Before,
it
could be okay, but it wasn't written in stone. Now I have the approval. You know what I mean?
No. Well, she's extremely beautiful.
Thank you.
And I'm sure your new son's going to be very handsome, man. And God bless you, man. You're a good dude, man. And don't take no shit from these guys, man. You articulated yourself very well yesterday. And like I said, everything it is what it is, man. I'm not in here to be tomorrow it'll be in the chats that I'm a Tom fucking Levecchia simp. I'm sucking your ass, and you've been telling me what to do for 30 years, and all that other horse shit. So
don't go on any of the shows, man. Don't go on shows, man.
You don't see me nowhere, dude. Well, now there will be because there's 50 fake names in every chat, so now there'll be my name on there.
Oh my god, I have my first fake armchair account. It's fucking great.
You do. What was that when you came on? I see Vinny one night. You were on Vinny's show one night, and you came on at What the hell was it? Vikings or some shit like that? One of those
Yeah,
guys?
yeah, yeah.
Did you
Just
come out
to
with
be
it? Yeah,
that
yeah.
guy like there's people that hate me, but that guy like hates me. And so I just came on that as this thing, and I just have a little fun with it, you know.
Is your wife's not listening, right?
She is, but she's heard it before.
Oh, all right. Well, I was just gonna say you didn't date your sister or something back in the day, right? The Vikings guy or not anything
No,
like
no,
that.
no. I now lost 4 hours of sleep of explaining. Thank you, George. I liked you until now. Just kidding. We're gonna have Lucio jump on. George, you got a minute to hang out, or you got to jump? You're welcome to stay.
It's up to you, man.
No, stay. You're welcome to stay. Lucio
All right, brother.
Benevenuti, how are you, sir?
How you doing, Tom? Congratulations, but on the newborn coming your way.
I am. I hate to say this. I didn't hurt that it's a boy.
Oh, bambino, non era un ragazzo, era una ragazza.
No, ragazzo. It's a boy. You're gonna have a boy.
All right. George, hello. My name is Lucio.
Lucio, how are you, brother? It's Louie, right?
Yeah, they call me Lou Pep. I'm from Boston.
Yeah, you're from Boston. What part of Boston? My mother's side of the family. My father's from Boston.
South Medford. South Medford.
South Medford, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my family was Pellegrini from Boston, from the north end up off the north end over there.
Oh wow!
But did they own something a store in the north end?
They're out in the. She lives in Pepperell now, man. They're out in the outskirts now. But I'm talking back in the day when they were coming up. You know?
a lot of young, like preppies moved in there now. The Italian moved out. You know.
Yeah, I heard the north end, dude. I was just there, 3-4 weeks ago. It's like you dig $4,000 for an apartment, some crazy shit like that.
Wow. Yeah, the cleaning house. All the restaurants are doing unbelievable. Because you got to look at it this way. Over the years, it was all Italians living there. Now, and there was all restaurants, but Italian people cook Italian food. Why would they go out to eat to an Italian restaurant?
Yeah.
So now you got these college people.
The best chef.
Yeah, you got these college people coming in, and the family's paying for the colleges. They're in Boston now. I mean, you don't even need a car down there if you live in the North End.
No, you can walk everywhere.
I mean, everything changed. Everything's like, it seems like it's like artificial life now. It's like,
So Luke, I stay at the club quarters, right? When I go to Boston, every time I stay at the club quarters, and you can walk, right? It's 15-minute walk to the North End, go through the whole North End, and what's the bakery that's open all the time, all night, 24 hours on the corner there?
Bovis Bakery.
Well, yes. You go up there, you can get some arancini, whatever you need. Go back to the room, whatever you're gonna do. You know what I mean?
That's a good friend of mine, Anthony Bolo. He's getting out in a few months. He's a good dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, his sister one of his sisters just passed away. They got a good family.
Oh, God bless. I'm sorry, man. There's a nice church up the corner there too. They have a nice courtyard and everything right there. You know what I'm talking about? Up in the corner, right from the bakery, the next corner up. Yeah.
What, from Bovis?
Yes, from Bovis. If you go come up the street. I'm not sure the street name. But if you're on the corner of Bovis, say you came out of Bovis, you take a left and a quick right, you go up that street, right up to the next corner. On that corner, on the left hand side of the corner, there's a beautiful church there with a courtyard, everything right there.
Oh yeah. The basketball court too.
Right before that, yes.
Yes, that's Prince Street.
Yes. Okay, yeah, you're right. You know better than me, brother. I just visited.
Yeah, because right when you hit Prince Street, it's like on the corner. Then you hit Hanover.
Right, exactly. I remember that
long street. Yes. It's like an intersection, a small, tiny, but there's the church right there.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, are you a New York guy?
No. I'm from Connecticut, man.
Oh yeah, UConn.
Yeah.
The Huskies.
Yes. My brother went there. He graduated from there in 2004 when the boys and the girls won the title. And my father. Go ahead.
When they excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you. When they had the girls became better than the guys' team. Remember?
Yeah. Absolutely. They were going undefeated. It was crazy, man.
And let me tell you something. Every time they played St. John's back and forth, because that was a rivalry, them and Georgetown and St. John's.
Yeah.
And it was always home court advantage in college basketball. It's like, means everything. And UConn was tough to beat at home.
What was the woman that she ended up getting sick there? She was a big rival.
Diana Taurasi?
No. She played for UConn. Geez, Pat Summers.
Okay.
That was Tennessee.
Okay. Is she tall? Real tall lady?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And
what do you think?
Gino said that she had a flat tire on the side of the road. He wouldn't stop and help her or something like that.
Wow.
Who's that? Boston Red Sox too. What do you think about Brady? Is he gonna repeat?
Listen, man. The man is unbelievable, man. What's he doing? Shit, I'm 44, man. I feel like I'm 87 every morning I get out of bed. I don't know how he gets hit by 350-pound linemen and gets his ass up off. As pretty as he is, and even with Giselle jumping all over him and doing gymnastics, how the hell he gets up every morning?
Hey,
you get your ass kicked for 20-something years by NFL linemen, bro.
And you know something? He didn't lie to his fans either. He said it like 5-6 years ago. I'm 45.
Hey, the worst thing Belichick ever did, in my opinion.
Now.
Yeah,
the worst thing Belichick ever did when Dante Scarnecchia, remember Dante Scarnecchia? You know who that is? He's the offensive line coach for the Patriots, when they had all the great. I mean, he moved around the offensive line 27 times or 30 times in one season. I think the last year they won the Super Bowl. And he retired, and then Belichick went and got him out of retirement and brought him back. And then they went on another. They went on one the other. Yeah, right.
Rodney Harrison.
What's that, brother?
They had Harrison. They had This is when when he took over for Bledsoe, right?
No. This is way after that. I'm talking about the offensive line coach.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well,
Dante Scarnecchia was retiring. He wanted to go spend time with his family. He's the best offensive line coach in football, man.
Well, I got. You know what happened?
What I'm getting at is Tampa Bay. Who's that? Somebody's yelling in the background. It sounds like an Italian house. So everybody's screaming in the background. I'm on the phone. Leave me alone. I'm on the phone.
Well, George, the first time Lucio came on, his wife basically told him what to say. Everything you said was brilliant.
Josh, she's telling me because she's half Russian.
She's half Russian.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to tell her I got Russian hands, Roman fingers, baby.
Right.
But anyway, so Tom Brady went down to. There's a great offensive line coach in Tampa Bay. He's not stupid, man. He went down there. If you watch the protection, the O-line in Tampa right now this year has been unbelievable. Everybody can say Brady, this, that, Rodgers. If you can't stay from getting your ass pile drives in the ground, I'm a Giants fan. And I'm a Giants fan, unfortunately. Yeah. And Bannon was getting his ass handed to him the last 4 years he played.
Oh yeah, can you agree with me now that they started gelling right at the right time last year? The defense.
I believe so. I mean, yeah, I think so.
And then they just became unstoppable.
The new kid, Mac Jones, now they got in New England, man. They're going to do another 20 years, man. I'm telling you, Belichick's a genius, man. Brady had the early success, but I think in the long run, don't forget the team that they had, their third string was as good as the first string almost. You know what I mean? Look at this guy.
Not on. She keeps coming downstairs. Talk about ask him this, ask him that. Why don't you come ask him? My God.
Hey, you're not gonna be. Hey, Lucho, you're not gonna be sleeping on that couch tonight, brother. Don't get yourself in trouble, man.
No, I am. What happened was about a month and a half ago. I got my we had it rained all week. Now my father.
Hey Tom, I'm sorry we digress your show, man. We got two freaking meatheads down here talking football.
I am enjoying this more than I'd like to admit.
Hey, George, so I'm not glorifying anything, but I got hemmed up in 2006. I bled out. I went away for 7 years. I get out in 2015, And
Brother, you're
and I
the only
made,
one,
and I
bro.
did my
I'm a felon too.
I did my apartment over downstairs, nice, and
So you say you don't
just
have to sleep on the couch tonight. You got an apartment.
no. Well, I met my girl. Me and my girl. I'm saying I end up doing my apartment, my like nice, for beautiful apartment. My father has a well in the backyard, big garden. My sister
Right?
put the pool too close to the well,
So now it gets flooded
and
down there.
guess where it went?
Right in your apartment.
Oh, bad. And guess where I was?
You didn't have to
Laid
buy
up.
a water bed,
Like,
I'm guessing.
hey, George, I had shingles. I woke up. I swear to God, there's 3 feet of water, and I got shingles.
Hey,
Oh
wait a minute.
no.
Wait a minute. You're talking to a roofer here. You had roof shingles or like shingles the bumps and shit?
Shingles from stress.
Oh, I
That's
got you.
painful. Shingles are
Shingles
painful.
hurt, bro.
What?
Hey,
The worst pain ever.
You didn't get
The worst.
you didn't get chickenpox as a kid?
No chicken
What?
pox.
That's not.
When I was
That's not
born,
what it is.
I
That's
had
not what it is,
Hirschsprung
Tom.
disease. I had
What?
Hirschsprung disease.
What's
I
that?
had
What's that?
Hirschsprung disease when I was born. My
I don't even know
intestine,
what that is, brother. I'm sorry.
wasn't functioning.
Hey.
Right?
So I was in children's hospital for a whole year,
Oh, God
and
bless, man.
I finally,
My buddy had that.
I had the bag there for when I was growing up.
Hey. What
Oh, Jesus. You don't
people
have it
are,
no more, though, right, brother? Well, I mean, that's none of my business. I'm sorry. Don't
No,
answer that, man.
no, but it was a miracle that I survived because
Yeah,
I
God
got it
bless
right
you.
off. I got it right off the rip. I mean, the scar's huge. Imagine when I was a little baby, how big it must have been.
Yeah,
I didn't know
I
that.
can imagine.
Thank you. So
Yeah.
everybody's I think you said it last time. Well, first of all, Rob Lito goes, what part of Italy is Lucio from? He says all of Italy. But no,
I'm from
Carmen wants to know as well. Where you from again?
Hey, Kamenuch. First of all, I'm from Avellino, but I consider myself a Napolitan.
Well, I got shit for that the
Yeah.
other day because my family's from Avellino too, and I said I'm Napolitano, and I got like a lecture on it. What's the name of the town again you're from?
Tom, me and you from the same town, Mirabella.
Yeah, we're near each other. Yeah, I remember I checked on the map. It wasn't too far. It's near Foggia, right? About an hour from Foggia. Right?
Near Foggia, and it's near Grotta Minarda.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
we all all intents
Villanese.
and purposes Paisani because we're close enough.
Absolutely, that's a pais. That's what paisan means. Now, gumbare is another meaning. That means godfather of a child.
Correct.
They
Lucho,
use it. Yeah.
do you speak Italian, brother?
Oh yeah, that's my first language.
You do?
Oh, tutto cosa capisci?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show you how to speak Italian, man. Pay me my fucking money!
It's a fugazi.
No, I'm kidding, bro. You do? God bless you, man.
Yeah.
Carmen is from Benevento, which is not that
Oh,
far, right?
Benevento's is our paisans too.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not super far. It's a ride, but for Italian purposes, it's close enough.
Hey, where did
Well,
common sense go anyway?
Southern
You still
Italy,
on?
right? Yeah, that's
when-
southern Italy, right?
No, we're like in the middle of. It's not really
It's
southern.
south.
Southern.
First of all,
That's
even
south.
Rome is
It is.
even Rome
Hey.
is south, in my opinion. I was in
Yeah.
Milan, and I was like, oh yeah, like they're like, oh, southern Italy, Rome, and I'm like, that's not southern Italy, and they basically like tissed me away. I'm like, Jesus, what do you think where we're from? Shit.
That's what they are. That's
Yeah,
what they are.
my grandparents came from Calabria.
Calabrese.
There he
Yeah.
is.
Do you know
Nice.
which? Do you know from where? Common sense.
I think from the actual town of Calabria.
No, Calabria's a region. My brother-in-law, they're from Catanzaro, a small town. A lot of people moved to Newark, New Jersey.
Newark. How about Elizabeth?
So I have this thing. If you tell me where your family emigrated to, I could trace it back almost to the town. Elizabeth, there's two main towns: Vallata, which is my town, our town, and second is Ribera, which is Sicily, which was the Cavalcanti family origins.
What about Philadelphia?
Philly, a lot of Napolitan and Sicilians. I don't think as many
No, Philly,
Calabrians.
Philly.
What about?
Angel,
Well, my father was
What do you,
Calabrian. They were in Philly,
Really?
and
See,
my mother was
we'll put it
Boston.
this way. Philly was
yeah,
Sicilian's van.
heavily Sicilian. Yeah.
Angel Bruno.
I would say me personally, I thought, and I'll look this up. I think it was in Philly would be Sicilian, Napolitan, then Calabrian. But I could be wrong, but definitely heavily Sicilian. Definitely heavily.
what do you mean you could trace every single family to the town? By what their name, you mean?
So what happens is when one Italian goes
Hey,
and gets
how
a
you doing,
job,
Common Sense?
yeah, one Italian
Hey, how you
goes
doing,
and gets
Lucio? Nice to meet you, buddy.
yeah,
All right.
one Italian goes and gets a job in a town. They go back and like, oh, trovate lavoro. Yeah, like now they all start going to that town. So they tend to be very heavy on certain towns. So if you're from like Newark, New Jersey, you'll most likely be Calabrian. You go to Brooklyn, is heavy Sicilian. You go to Bronx, is also heavy Sicilian. You go to like Whitestone, Queens, in that area is heavy Sicilian. It all depends, where you go. And then when you go within, let's say Sicilian or whatever, they generally are from certain towns that you could trace back to.
Excuse me, Long Island. Yeah. I think a lot of villains live in Long Island.
Yeah, 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 so then also when they move in these concentrated cities like Elizabeth, they'll move to bigger towns like Edison, New Jersey has a lot of Bolognese and people from Ribera. So and then you can not only that, you could also maybe trace back and know their names too, because there's certain names that are more popular for certain towns. It's kind of like Jewish geography, but it's Italian geography.
Right. Hey.
See, we can never figure out exactly where my grandparents came from. He was the youngest of 13 kids, and he wound up getting adopted. Him and the second youngest of the brothers. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So Ridgewood and Bushwick, Castellammare, which is Sicily, and Alcomese, and then
yeah.
And then Johnny, obviously Sicilian because you see the flag, and from Catania and Bracciano with my mother's family. Yeah. I've been to Sicily, but I haven't been to Catania. I heard it's beautiful. I'd like to visit sometime.
Oh, it's beautiful there. I my mother's goddaughter. She the family went there. They're from there, and it's gorgeous. It's one of the better places.
You know what I find funny though is we had the old show, and the old show was obviously pretty popular. So I go to Boston, and I had 4 or 5 people come up to me and go NBA. Like I was like, what the fuck? I go to New York, nothing. What is it, San Gennaro's? I go to New Jersey, Hoboken Feast, nothing. But I go to North End, and I had 4 or 5 people come up to me and say hello. I thought that was interesting.
Right. Hey, come to Boston, look around a little, get a nice little pad in Boston too. You go back and forth.
Well, what's interesting is my wife and I like Boston. We were up there a few years ago. My favorite place is Stanze del Cigare. That's the cigar spot that's in the basement. We'll pick up George on the way. We'll pick up Common Sense. I'm not sure where he is, but maybe you can meet us there. And then
I was gonna say, man, we gotta go check out Lucho, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Lucho, listen. Did you get rid of the water yet, or I gotta bring my swimmies, bro? I'm kidding,
hey,
bro.
guys, I don't mean to interrupt, man, but I'm gonna have to get going in a minute.
Listen,
Common Sense, man. You were very articulate, man. You're a hell of a. I mean, obviously you did your due diligence, man. Who gives a shit what they say in the chats, man? And I appreciated your content, man. You sounded, like I said, it was very articulate and educational, in my opinion. But who the fuck am I?
Right.
Well, no, I appreciate it, and that's all. So that's all we're here for, man. Hope you guys enjoy the content and they could do the homework for themselves and see where they land. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Common Sense. Listen, I appreciate you coming on. I'll follow up on those points. Obviously, I have my email, you have my cell, and I really do appreciate you spending some time with us.
All right, Tom. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Be well, buddy. Ciao.
Nice to meet you guys.
Ciao.
All right, take it easy, brother.
All right, I'm gonna drop the link. One more, if anybody wants to jump on before we go. Before my wife hasn't pulled the plug yet, so I guess I got a minute or two. Luciano's didn't get the plug pulled, so I guess we could have some fun. I make limoncello. I love limoncello.
Oh, limoncello?
Oh my God, the best.
They
Oh,
do
my
the
God.
grappa, the sugar, the lemon. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh?
Now you're talking.
Well,
Now,
thank
now.
you. I knew. Hey, George,
Yes,
like
sir.
a month ago, I was watching Tom's show and I'm like, wow, these guys seem like classy guys, they're talking good. And I said, can I
Yeah.
get on the show? And he let me on. And I said to
See?
him before I got on, I thought he was mad at me because I says in Italian, your last name means old lady,
Yeah.
vecchia.
Lavecchia. He's old lady.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's what it means. It's what it means.
What do you mean? That's good.
Very
You're
Well,
good.
Italian.
Very good.
Huh.
good thing.
So
Good thing
he let me
I
on.
didn't see the show. I would have hung up when you came on. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, what's your shoe size, George? Rob Lito, just wondering.
13, man. And you know what they say about big feet? They use more soap.
Marlon, wow, 13.
Rob
You
Lito,
can't
what the
move
hell?
on.
Put that back up. What did it say there? I didn't see that.
What shoe
What's
size? What shoe size is
what size
common?
is common size wear so we can mark his size and the soles of his shoes. This is in case we look for him and find him against
He's
Angel's ass.
talking about common. I thought he wanted your shoe size because but I find that
Oh,
interesting.
what the hell are they talking about?
That was a comment I started about Angel. I missed that. I don't think Angel's watching. I doubt it, but if she is,
Hey,
that wasn't my intent.
we
The
do get
Angel, you mean Angel Gotti?
I guess so. I'm guessing so.
Oh, okay.
Hey, George, we got something in common.
Absolutely, brother. Hey, man. I
Your
don't know. I'll
size,
get a hold.
you got a shoe size 13. Lucky Italian number.
That's true.
Hey, where are you? So what town? Listen, what town are you in? You're in Boston? What part of Boston?
Yeah.
You're in Boston, right?
If I walked out of this house right now, I could be in Boston in 12 minutes.
I just left my cousin's house, but we always go to Boston. Like I said, I stay at the club quarters all the time. I was just there this weekend, man.
So you stay near Faneuil Hall. Near
I'll be
Faneuil Hall.
back up. I'll be back up. Yeah, right. I could walk to Faneuil Hall. I could walk to the North End. I could walk anywhere. I love that area. I love going over there, man.
I'll get in the car when you come down again. Shoot, something to eat down the North End.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
absolutely. That's what I'm saying. But I got to get a hold of you. So Tom has your info. Tom, you got his info? How do we?
Lucio, email me again. Tom Anuthier. I think I have it. Email me again. I have George's email. Email me again to get on the top, and I'll connect you guys via email.
Yeah, George, I'm gonna email Tom my email and then my phone number and stuff.
Right.
And you can call me on my phone, and then if you come to Boston like that, I'll meet you 12 minutes up. You know what I mean? We'll go down the North End. You know what I mean? And then
and bring the Russian mobster, but she ain't telling me what to say, brother.
Oh,
I got
man.
the years ago.
Hey, she's smart on. She's smart on. Oh,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, no, I love her. She's good. She's loyal.
I'll bet you. I know. I'm just kidding, brother.
You know what I mean? We're going on 4 years now.
I would love to do that. Congratulations, man.
Just to mention something, how life goes. I was she went up. She was engaged to someone I was away with, and he passed away.
Oh wow!
And and I befriended her because guys were calling her, not even sorry about this, sorry about that, just being rude to her, oh, can we go out? And and I told her, listen, don't shut your phone off. They don't care. Guys like that don't care. And we were more friends. And then the friendship, which I believe a friendship is a good foundation before a relationship.
Right.
You know what I mean? It goes good together because you need that.
Is that a Nerf gun behind you?
Yeah.
You guys, not to get too personal, you guys have kids?
No, I know that Hilby's nephew Layla and little David.
God bless. No, that's your Nerf gun. Let's be honest. No, I'm just messing with you.
Hey, maybe in the summer, me and George come down. We'll go to the Hot Beach. I'll bring one. He'll bring one.
I'm in, baby. You got a hairy back. You got to have a hairy back, bro.
Oh, please! I get. This is when I was younger. I told my girl, I was like 17, do not shave any hairs on my back. It grows quadruple.
Tom is like, what the hell did my show turn into,
listen,
man?
as soon as we got the hairs on the back, now I'm just messing. So we're gonna wrap it up. You guys are good. I got my notepad here. It's always good to listen and learn. What are some of the content ideas, mob and not mob related, you guys want to see and hear? I'll take some notes.
You know my vote, brother.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah.
I like the Maxi trial, the 80s in Sicily.
That's a good one.
When they got Buscetta in Brazil.
That's a good one.
And then he came to New York, and then they clipped like 7 people in his family.
Yep. More than that. I think 7 in like an immediate family. But
yeah, right. Then he was with 24 hours. He was with 4 agents at all times. His whole family too.
Correct.
And Rena. Then they had the guy Brusca turned on Rena.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Lucio. Did you read the book Men of Honor or Man of Honor? The book about Buscetta.
Yeah, about him and his brother.
No, Buscetta, Tommaso Buscetta.
Oh, Tommaso Buscetta,
Man of Honor.
Oh, yeah. Tell what it's like.
What I'm doing is maybe kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I maybe can do a book review of that, which covers a Maxi trial, covers the New York stuff,
right.
A little bit of the Pizza Connection. We can get Rob Lito to come on to talk about it. And then I think that's a good one. I think a book review and having that on.
I'll tell you right now. You know why he flipped? Falcone had the secret touch to him. He only listened to Falcone.
That's correct. He would only meet with them. Correct.
He would not talk to nobody else. And he still, George, this guy still, after he testified against Pipo Calò, who's another guy who was friends with his brother, and they grabbed Luciano Ligio in Milan, remember?
Wait, say that.
He was the first boss of Corleone, Luciano Ligio.
Yeah, Luciano Ligio. Yeah, see, yeah.
Right.
Oh.
So
what do you think? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So Buscetta would only meet with Falcone, and so when the Corleonese off the rip, when they met with Stefano Bondate from Palermo, they call him the Prince.
Yeah.
Those guys looked down on the Corleones. They called them the peasants.
Correct.
And Toto Rina, they didn't know the guy was a genius. He worked in the yards. This guy rose to the top from nothing. And he took over. And
La Bestia.
Yeah, La Bestia. But they just grabbed Bernardo Provenzano a couple of years ago. After 46 years on the limb. George, when these guys were going to trial, they were in absentia. What that means, they weren't even there when their trial was going on.
I know what it means. I've been in a courtroom, brother.
Right. I'm just saying. I want to explain it right here.
I know.
He's being condescending, George.
I know. Hey, that's your job, Tom. That's supposed to be you, man. You're supposed to fill in for him and go, hey, George, you know what that means, you fucking bonehead?
You're good.
Hey, Lucho, can I ask you this, brother? Because you're in Boston, and ask, you know anything about Paul Tanzo or Luisi or anything? What do you think about them guys?
I know them both. I know Paul. I know Paul very well. At the end of my bid, he was there. He was doing his last couple of years. The North End guys, they got their own thing. I'm not gonna make any comments about nobody. Bobby Luisi's a North End guy all his life. He's got a big family.
Right.
Which I'm very good friends with his family. The Peppicellis, they're friends of mine.
Okay.
And Paul Tanzo, we would go to chow together. We'd walk the yard. So I know them. Yeah, they're the original Northern guys.
Right.
I reach out. I'd love to get Bobby back on, Paul back on. Good guys. I'd like to, because on the old show I did their history and it went pretty deep. I actually would like to do specific things with each of them separately. I can't promise anything, but hopefully I can get them both back on. Good
no,
guys.
I don't know. I don't know anything as much about Tanzo. Did he cooperate or was just Luisi?
No, there's nothing on Tanzo, correct? Or
Tanzo's a stand-up dude.
I don't. Tanzo will go to the moon and back, and it came out. He severed his trial. That's what happened. He severed his trial.
The fuck.
They severed their trial. There was 3 of them. He severed his trial. He had his own trial.
Yeah, listen to this, George. He had F. Lee Bailey as his attorney, and he won.
Right.
I heard something about that, man. But I sit on here. I did 20 months, man, for not ratting on one of my brothers, man. So I know I got, I listen. I just say for me personally, man. There's a dude out there that's Larry Lawton, man, and I didn't do it to be no fucking hero. It fucking at one time destroyed it. I lost a lot of shit, man, because of it, and it cost me some time with my daughters and shit like that. But
wow,
I just did it for me, man. I want to be able to look in the fucking mirror.
Wait, Larry Lawton, the YouTuber?
Yeah, I heard him say, and the best way to explain it was, I didn't do it to be a fucking hero. I didn't do it to be no stand-up. I did it for me personally. You know what I mean? And that's the way I felt. That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
If I give you my word, man, no matter which side of the line I end up on it, I'm gonna live and die by that fucking word. If I give you my word, I look you in the eye, dude. That's it. That's all it is to it, man.
I believe you. You said I could see it in your eye. I can hear just the way you talk. That you mean it. I mean, people sense things. And I have a good judge of character. I have something about it. I'm not saying, oh, I'm perfect in this. I mean, I can add numbers 1, 2, 3. I know every state capital. And when I say something,
the capital of Arkansas,
Little Rock.
Oh, he got it. Come on, rattle off a couple more there, Armchair.
Rattle off a couple. Come on.
Are you being, hey, Tom, are you being condescending right now, sir?
I'm being condescending. Wyoming.
Cheyenne.
What?
Alaska.
Juneau.
It's not Anchorage?
It could be.
Hold on.
Take 30 seconds to Google it, man.
I thought it was Juneau, but it could be Anchorage. But
Juneau, but I don't know. Hey, Juneau, but I don't know.
Juneau.
It is Juneau. You are correct.
Yeah, Juneau. You know how I know? Remember that one? Boston Bruins player had Juneau. They had Juneau on the team, and I says, and one night I says, Juneau's Alaska.
Capital of Alabama.
Montgomery.
I was gonna say, Tennessee.
Tennessee is Knoxville.
Knoxville.
Hey, what about the Dakotas and say the North one first?
Yeah.
Okay, Pierre, South Dakota.
You did it wrong. You said South Dakota first.
Bismarck, North Dakota.
What's South Dakota?
South Dakota's Pierre.
Pierre?
Yeah, look it up.
Pierre, like the French name now.
Yeah, look it up.
What's the capital of Washington, D.C.?
I was going to say that. You took my line.
Look it up. It's Pierre.
It
is Pierre. Jesus Christ.
And you know what else people mess up on?
Your name. Hey, I give all my friends nicknames. Your name's fucking Rain Man, brother.
Hold on, Tennessee. He's getting challenged. Hold on.
Is it Chattanooga?
Tennessee is Nashville. You got it wrong, Lucio.
Ah, God. Tom, don't give this guy my information, Tom.
Oh, forget it. If you had your own show and you got something wrong, there would be an account made for you.
Oh, God, I can imagine.
There would be, you have no fucking clue.
Hey, George, I would say I was 7-1. Not bad.
Yeah, right?
8 states, 7-1.
Tom, so let me ask you this, brother. Why do you put yourself through the fucking the bullshit, man? Honestly.
Well,
I mean, I enjoy the good content you have, but all the horse shit that comes with it, man.
Well,
It's like, what the?
So
you don't need it. You don't need money. It's not the money. It's not.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, so what happened was I had a new theory, and it did okay. You know, I was an audio guy. I was on Apple, and I did audio. And I'm like, all right, let me do YouTube. So I knew YouTube was a little bigger form, you know. And started doing YouTubes, and I would do a whole bunch of stuff. I did like notable people from all different walks of life. The mob stuff would do a little better, right? Just so if I interviewed Lucio,
I know you said they had better numbers and stuff,
much better. So then I hooked up with Panisi for the 9-part series. So we kind of got into the mob stuff for 100 episodes. So about 55% of the audience comes from NBA and Buttman. Right. The rest come from Armchair and then New Theory. So it's like my concern initially was if I go like way out of the mob genre, that the numbers were tank. So what I do now is I experiment. I'll do mob stuff, business, mob, business. My still concern is the business stuff still doesn't do as well, which is funny because I thought that's an area that have more credibility. So I'm still going to do mob stuff, obviously, but I'm going to start doing more like business stuff that a guy like you is going to appreciate. Side hustles, mailbox money, that kind of stuff.
So it's more of a business decision, you're saying, as far as.
Well, believe it or not, I make little to no money on this. It's like
I know that, but I'm saying.
Well,
it's more of a keeping it.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Keeping the channel relevant and keeping it productive, or keeping it.
Well, there's two things I want to do. There's two things I want to do. One, I want to make like really good content, and then whatever kind of the audience wants. If I'm good at it, I'll try it. And then the second is I'd like to build a community. You know, where it doesn't have to be 10,000. Could be less. Could be more. Where you know what, Lucio, God forbid, needs something, we could huddle up. If you know, I don't as you know, don't monetize my channel through like other people do. If I maybe sell my book and people believe in me, I might sell some books, maybe consulting, maybe courses, whatever, right? I'm just still trying to build a community and provide value. Like I always say, like give, and then ask when you need to. And I very rarely had to ask. The only challenge is I feel like I'm giving and it's like, it's a lot of bullshit. so I'm kind of like weighing, you know, how can I best give without getting into the mud, you know?
Well, can I say something?
Go ahead, brother.
George, you got good mojo. This is I'm enjoying this. It's about entertainment too, making people laugh.
Yeah, and have a good time.
All right. And Tom, you're a man who's rich in goodness.
There you go.
It's obvious.
That's what matters, and that's what matters.
And you don't have to explain to people to convince them. You know what I mean?
No, I was curious for my own reasons. I don't give a shit what anyone.
You know what I mean? When I send you my email and I leave my number and George meets me, he's gonna know. Met a good guy, and then I know he's a good guy.
Yeah. And George, you've been standing this whole time.
What's that?
You've been standing this whole time.
Well, let me tell you something. I stand and I got the worst knees and feet in the world. I stand constantly. If I sit down, I'm afraid I won't get up.
We should do a show where George calls in standing up and we don't get off till he sits down.
Yeah, never happened. You'll be on this motherfucker, be like a telethon.
And I'll have to try to make me not say a word throughout the whole show. That'd be tough.
Well, hold on, George. I would think it's the opposite. When you're on roofs, wouldn't you want to be more down and condensed? Because you can't stand on roofs a lot, right? Or no?
Yeah, but once you stand up, you straighten out. Dude, I'm going to show. Well, we'll meet. We've been talking whatever about that, but I'll show you. When I show you my legs, you're going to go, holy shit, man. No wonder you stand. You ain't going to be like, trust me. I'll send you a picture over the internet tonight about you see. I got a zipper from my big toe all the way up my hip, all the way up, dude.
Oh shit! From what?
Motorcycle accidents, roofing. I had my knee replaced 3 years ago.
Motorcycle accident.
Hold on, George. What was the highest roof you ever worked on?
I did steeplejacking when I've done my whole roof. My whole life, excuse me. So I don't know. It was up around 25 frames high, and they're what, 6'4", 6'5" frames?
What?
25 to 30 frames high.
How many feet is that?
They're 6'4" frames. You do the math. You're the NBA. You do the math, man.
Christ, that's 120,
180,
150, right?
180.
Something like that. It was about 100. I think it was 180 or 200 to the cross, something like that.
180. It's 210.
Has anybody ever asked you if the roof is on fire?
Yeah.
No,
The roof.
I sang that song a few times and I was lit up a little bit.
Jay, George, did you ever go in any clubs in Boston? Yes.
I hit them bars not the last couple times. No, but when I was younger, I did. But I can't remember where the hell I was, man. Me and my cousin are very, very close, man. She's one of the only family members I really get along with. And we had a blast down there when I was younger. But I don't know.
You probably down
Tom's backing himself up over there.
No,
Faneuil Hall.
A guy writes, I don't want Lucio on my roof. Okay, what was the worst pitch?
Lucho's the kind of guy that you could send on a flat roof to find the leaks, baby.
Hey, let me tell you something.
Hold on, what was the worst pitch that you were on?
Oh, one was a 22, and I got pictures of it to prove it. It was a 22-12, which is ridiculous. So basically, I'm 6'2". I was standing on a plank, and my shoulder was like 4 or 5 inches from the roof.
Wow.
And it was slate. It was slate, and it was August, man, and I was sweating my ass off. Trust me.
Jesus.
God bless you.
Damn. You should do a podcast from a roof.
There's a couple guys out there that do shit like that. One of the guys has a toy, I'll just say, and puts his hammer in there and all that. There's a bunch of guys that do that crap. I don't know. That's not for me, man. I can't take the abuse you take. You kidding me?
I'm terrified of heights. I went to ski in a gunstock.
Hey, it's not
I had to have the guy.
Hold on. Now we're doing a show. We should do Lucio on the roof, 18 stories, 22 pitch, and we film.
No, I was told. Hey, I go, where are we going? And the thing's going way up.
It doesn't stop, man.
God, I was holding a tree there to come get me a sled. The guy goes, "You're gonna kill you." Yeah, I would not go down the mountain. I was holding a tree at the top of the mountain.
Snow mountain. Okay.
I'm not a skier. I'm like, where are you taking me? The Black Mountain. Black Mountain. I couldn't see nothing. The guy goes, "You're gonna kill yourself up here." Then I went. Then he goes, "Try the beginners one. The beginners one. When you ski straight like, and it was just I had to be there to see it. It was just comical. So I says, "I'm all done skiing. Okay. I'm going to have a Corona."
Well, listen. You guys watch the show. I'm going to give you each a minute for parting words. You know, it's a very special thing. Lucio, you go first. You can give the parting words, and then we'll have George wrap it up.
Oh, well, Tom, I'm glad and I'm happy that you are going to have a new member to the family and that you share that you would share with me and let me, and text me, and I text you, congratulations. That means a lot.
My pleasure.
You know what I mean?
Pleasure.
And
my pleasure.
And communication. Talking to you tonight, I had a couple of laughs with George, and coincidentally, he's been in Boston, my hometown.
There you go.
So, see how the world goes around and around?
Yeah, I can hear you, George. You're good.
See how the world goes round and round?
Yeah, it's a small world, and you can network and connect and intertwine. That's what you do.
That's the word I used. I was a salesman 30 years. It's networking. I've been to 37 states. The best state where I made the most money was Utah.
Because you probably identify with the Mormons, right?
There was just money out there.
That's it. What were you selling?
Asphalt.
Interesting. God bless. All right. George, it's the final say before we wrap up.
I can't really hear you that well. My ear.
Okay. We're about to wrap. Just if you want to say some final words before we wrap up, we can hear you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying. Hey, give me 1 minute, Tom. Sorry, brother.
No worries. Well, listen.
All right, hang on. Can you hear me now?
You look tired. You look tired, Tom.
Today's been a long day, but I've got to remind everybody, road to 10,000 subs. We're trying to create some great content for you. Share, like, subscribe. If you watch the show tonight and you like the show, Please share it.
All right, Tom, listen, I don't know if you can hear me. I hope you can, but my earbuds died. But hey, Lucho, it was a pleasure meeting you, Tom. Always, you know that. So, gentlemen, I can't really hear I can't hear anything, actually. It's very faint on the phone. So I'm sorry. I apologize. Not that you give a shit you want to hear anything I got to say, but
all right. Thanks so much, guys. And
I'll see you guys later. Lucho, he'll send you my stuff, man. It's good to see you guys.
Yep.
Have a good one, brother.
God bless.
Hey, Tom, tell him. Say it.
Shut the bed.
Ciao.
Shut the bed.